cars to life as we get set for live Grand National type of bull ring. The brightly clad matadors bring their steeds to the checkered flag. Sometimes the matador makes a mistake and must ride out the consequences. At other times, the bulls become enraged and take off with a mind of their own, leaving the matador helpless to ponder his fate. But today at the bull ring, there are championships to be celebrated. Chuck Bound clinched his 1 week ago at Rockingham, North Carolina, the Busch Grand National crown. But in NASCAR's Winston Modified Division, the title is up for grabs. Point leader and challenger Jamie Tomeno from New Jersey tries to wrest the crown from defending national champion Mike Stefanik. It all happens today at the bull ring, Martinsville, Virginia. It is a breezy but beautiful fall day in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. The Winston Classic, racing's wildest triple header, is underway. Hello everyone and welcome to Martinsville. I'm Mike Joy and today we'll see NASCAR's two biggest and best touring series wind down what's been a great 1990 campaign. Later this afternoon, we'll see the modifieds, those 600 horsepower open-wheel machines decide their championship. But first, the Busch Grand National drivers are here. Chuck Bound firmly in possession of the crown, but Glenn Jarrett, other drivers that need good showings here at Martinsville to look forward to 1991.
Well, absolutely, Mike. There have been some real top competitors this year that have not yet won races, and so they're out to prove their point, to obviously try to impress some sponsors, maybe to seal their deals for next year. So tremendous amount of competition left, even though the championship is decided.
200 laps is a long way to go on one tank of gas. Can they do it?
Well, it's going to be tough. There have been guys that have tried it in the past and have made it. There have been guys that have tried it in the past and have not made it. So it just depends on the kind of fuel mileage each individual car gets. It's a tight cloth.
And we'll be counting points, not for champion Chuck Bound or runner-up Jimmy Hensley, but for the drivers that sit 3rd through 6th. Labonte, Grissom, Wallace, very close together, and right behind them, Tommy Ellis and Tom Peck. So it should be quite a day of racing here at Martinsville, this doubleheader. First the Busch Grand Nationals, and then the NASCAR Modifieds. Now, let's go down trackside at Martinsville Speedway for the words that these thousands of race fans have been waiting to hear.
So look for a great day from Chuck Bound. Sharing the front row with Chuck Bound will be Jimmy Hensley of Ridgeway, Virginia. The Crown Fast Fair Oldsmobile, driven by a man who is a local favorite, is home in Horse Pasture, Virginia, just about 4 miles up the road. Winston Kelly from Denver, North Carolina, is with Jimmy Hensley.
They've just given the command to start the engines. Jimmy Hensley, the point situation is all decided. You cannot finish anywhere.
They have fired the engines here at Martinsville, Virginia, and 32 of the top Busch Grand National campaigners are set to do battle in a race that means a lot to many of them, both in the pocketbook and as they look forward to 1991. We'll be back with the start of the Busch Grand National portion of the Winston Classic right after these messages.
The new S15 Jimmy 4-door goes from 0 to 60 in seconds. And with 4-wheel anti-lock brakes, it goes from 60 to 0, like that. The new S15 Jimmy 4-door has more legroom and cargo space. Not to mention room for 5 campers and their gear.
I like what shampoo and conditioner do for my hair, but I love what Pert Plus does for me. Pert Plus is a unique shampoo and conditioner in one, so my hair turns out just the way I like it. Clean, conditioned, looking great, but without the bother of 2 bottles. Imagine, hair I like without the fuss. That's what Pert Plus does for me. If only everything in my life was so simple.
Shampoo and conditioner in one. Wash and go with Pert Plus.
What makes a Quaker State engine so tough? One tough motor oil. And being tough takes more than just talking tough.
There's a brand that says it's been engineered for smaller engines. Well, Quaker State has been tested tough for small engines in Japan, in Europe, and in America. In fact, Quaker State has toughed out the most demanding specs for every size engine and every size car sold in the U.S. What makes any size Quaker State engine so tough? Quality engineered Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
The fiery rage of a kickboxer. The unstoppable force of leather-fisted warriors. And the unbridled fury of pro wrestling. Non-stop action on Feet, Fist, and Fury. See it Monday nights only on SportsChannel America.
Stay with Sports Channel America every night after the main event and get the latest news, interviews, scores, and highlights from the world of sports. Sports Nightly. See it exclusively on the Sports Channel America Network tonight.
It's a perfect fall day in the foothills of Virginia's Blue Ridge Mountains. $93,000 up for grabs for these Busch Grand National drivers. Let's have a look at the starting grid. First round qualifying was washed out. That puts champion Chuck Bown on the pole and runner-up Jimmy Hensley right alongside. In row 2, Bobby Labonte looking for his first win of the season. Three-time winner Steve Grissom alongside. Kenny Wallace in row 3 with Tom Peck, the sixth-place point man. Peck just 3 points apart from Tommy Ellis, who shares the fourth row with former national champ L.D. Ottinger. Rick Bass looking for his fourth win of the year, and Tommy Houston his fifth, till row 5. Bobby Hamilton, who moves up to Winston Cup next year, and Robert Presley are in the 6th row. In row 7 comes Elton Sawyer from Virginia, and Jeff Burton, who has big news this weekend. In row number 8, Bobby Doddard, along with New Englander Dave Rezendi. In the 9th row, Joe Nemechek, the leading rookie, and Jack Ingram, 5-time champ. In row number 10, Bobby Moon and Ward Burton from Virginia. Winston Cuppers, Jimmy Spencer, and Morgan Shepherd won the qualifying races. Then Ed Barrier and the middle Wallace brother, Mike, Bobby Hillen, and John Linville. Wayne Patterson just won the late model stock car race here. With Mike McLaughlin, Donnie Ling, Billy Standridge, and then the provisionals, Patty Moise and Jack Sprague. Let's join Ralph Shaheen down on pit road.
Mike, the 2 keys to race strategy here this afternoon are going to be tires and gas. If you got to pit for tires, you're in big trouble and possibly giving away your chance for a win. Pitting for gas will probably be just a splash and go near the end. Bobby Labonte, whose pit we're in, is planning on going till it runs dry.
Well, that strategy has been tried with various successes here, running the whole race on 1 tank of gas.
Well, absolutely, Mike. One of the guys that's noticeably missing from this field is a perennial favorite here at Martinsville, that car number 32 of Dale Jarrett. The reason that Dale decided not to come and run is because he had a choice to run the 150-lap race earlier here this fall in conjunction with the Winston Cup race, or coming to run this race. He decided to pick the 150 race because he said, I know I can run 150 laps on a tank of gas. If I go up for the Winston Classic, I may run out of gas, and that's embarrassing.
Okay, breezy day, 61 degrees. Great day for racing and largely packed grandstands here at Martinsville Speedway for the curtain closer on this Busch Grand National season. Chuck Bound brings them down in the Escalade Pontiac, and they get the green. Jimmy Hensley quickly drops into the 2nd spot. Single file back through 4th spot where Tom Peck is hung on the outside. Bobby Labonte dropping in. Kenny Wallace, L.D. Ottinger, and Peck up on the high side as they go to turn 3. 2 leaders, Bound and Hensley, bring them around to lap 1.
Like yesterday's practice, in the last practice session we had, there were several cars running extremely well. Of those, car number 6, Tommy Houston, car number 2, L.D. Ottinger, who won the race here earlier this year. There are just a tremendous number of cars that have very, very good chances of winning here today. So Chuck Bell's got his championship win. Seems like nothing better to go on to go finish off the season winning this race. He's going to be awfully tough because there are a lot of good cars out there running real well right now.
Ottinger found a hole, dropped in 5th spot behind Tom Peck. It is Bound at the front, Hensley in 2nd, Grissom in 3rd, and here's Jimmy Spencer in trouble. The Charlie Henderson Boot Country car, smoking from transmission or rear perhaps. Now it abates, and he gets a little tap from Ed Barrier.
Yeah, there's some smoke is peeling off the left rear quarter. I don't know if somebody might have gotten into him. He's got a tire against it or not. No, it looks to be more mechanical smoke than tire smoke.
Back up front with Chuck Bound and Jimmy Hensley, the 2 drivers that have battled all season long for the Busch Grand National Championship, each earning 4 pole positions. But Bound's 6 victories to Hensley's 1, the telling story of this campaign. In 3rd, Steve Grissom. Grissom, who's been to victory lane on 3 occasions, 10 top 5 finishes, strong season. Sponsor running for next year, most likely.
talked to Steve a little yesterday when we got here, and he still has not nailed down a sponsor for the 1991 campaign. A little unusual for somebody who's had the success that he has had. Very personable guy, very good-looking guy. He's a sponsor's dream, and I hope that he's able to put something together before too long.
Very talented driver, and as has been documented, the company that makes the sponsor's product has been bought out. More on that later. Here's Tommy Ellis, former national champ. Ellis, who started this race in 6th position, holding right there behind LD, or in 7th rather, right behind LD Ottinger. And here's a look at Jimmy Spencer on pit side. Put up on the Henderson car. 6 laps complete. Bound, holding the point. Hensley right with him. Grissom is 3rd. Peck is 4th. Ottinger 5th. Bobby Labonte. Then Tommy Ellis, Kenny Wallace, and the 59 Robert Grissom.
As you go through that field, every one of those guys potential winners. It's an extremely large amount of talent out there, and all those guys take it here to watch.
And it keeps going. Rick Mast in the 10th spot, Tommy Houston's 11th, Bobby Hamilton 12th, all potential winners of this race. At a speedway that has not necessarily been kind to the favorite. There you see Chuck Bound's stats, 10th and 17th here this year. Bound, who has nothing to do but add to his totals today. He clinched the championship at Rockingham last week. Hensley cannot take the crown from Chuck Bound. In fact, Hensley is locked in 2nd spot. Can't lose that today to Bobby Labonte.
You know, it'd be awfully fitting for Chuck Bound to cap off this great 1990 season with the win here at Martinsville, because his car owners, Hubert and Jeff Hensley, are from nearby Ridgeway, Virginia. This is their home track, so they'd like nothing better than to finish this season up with a win here.
Just up the hill from this speedway, out of turn 4 is Blute's sheet metal, the shop that gave Jeff Hensley his start. Then outside a number of cars here at Martinsville, so they would be hometown heroes, but so too would be Jimmy Hensley, who lives right in Ridgeway, just a stone's throw off the 2nd turn.
Kind of fitting that those 2 cars are running up front, 1 and 2 right now.
And not the least bit surprising. Grissom from Gadsden, Alabama is 3rd in the 31 car, the white car on the screen. Again, the company that makes his sponsor's product, Big Mama Meat Snacks, bought out by the folks that make Bobby Labonte's sponsor's product, Penrose Meats. And that has nothing to do with auto racing. It was a friendly takeover, one company to another, but they've decided for next season they need only 1 race car, and that'll be the car currently sponsored by the parent company, and that'll be Labonte's car. Here's trouble for Rick Mast, the Rockbridge, Bass, Virginia campaigner with 3 wins on the season, goes to pit road. Limping. Mast was running 10th. Not much to do with a lot of smoke pouring from under the hood of the Rick Mast car.
There you see NASCAR, the crew has got the hood raised, they're checking into it, but there is when they opened the hood, a tremendous amount of smoke came out from underneath it, so it doesn't look good for Rick Mast right now. Mast has been one of the hottest competitors on the circuit here in the last few weeks, having won our last televised show at Loudon, New Hampshire, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get the victory lane today, at least not first.
Back up front with Chuck Bound. And I wonder if Bound is going to have to stop. Now, Hensley seems, from talking to him yesterday, like he's committed to going the distance. Caution flags, of course, will play a big part.
Yeah, the track position here is so important, Mike. Even if you get a chance, you get that caution flag at the opportune time to make it. You don't want to give up all that track position, because it's awfully tough on tires, brakes, and the race car as a whole to get back through all that traffic.
Chuck Bound is the leader. Jimmy Hensley is 2nd. Steve Grissom 3rd. Tom Peck is 4th. 5th is LD Ottinger. 6th, Bobby Labonte. And 7th, Tommy Ellis. We'll pause now from Martinsville for a regional break. The Winston Classic on Sports Channel America will return right after the caution of the day here at Martinsville, Virginia, in the Busch Grand National part of the Winston Classic. Morgan Shepherd came down the front straightaway, and some of that Texas Pete hot sauce must have leaked out from under the car, because he left a trail of it down into turn 1, and that's prompted the first caution flag. He sits on pit road, as does the car of Jimmy Spencer. Rick Mast's car has been taken behind the wall. Ralph Shaheen has caught up with the 3-time winner.
Well, Rick, a frustrating way to end what could be your last Busch Grand National ride for a while. What happened?
Well, something in the driveline broke. I'm not sure. I was going down the backstretch and just locked up. Track's in real good shape. It's been an up and down season for me. It's been a bittersweet season, you might say. I got my ride with U.S. Tobacco and Richard Jackson next year. That's what I've been wanting. I got to give all the credit to Raven Busch, Jim Ruggles, and Buick for helping me all year, and all the guys standing behind me. Without all these people help, I'd have never made it.
Been a good season for Rick Mast. He's had disappointments, but some strong lights and a full-time Winston Cup ride for next season. We're back under green. Here comes Grissom on the inside. He's going to get the measure of Jimmy Hensley at turn 1, but Hensley rounds the corner to hold second.
Yeah, Grissom made a good move there to get under him. He caught Jimmy napping just a little bit, but Jimmy was able to separate off turn. Grissom tries him again as they dive into 3. But I believe Jimmy's going to be able to hold the position for right now.
If anybody here knows the fast way around this track, it's Jimmy Hensley. He got his car down to the curbing. That put Steve Grissom back in the 3rd spot in the 31 car. Grissom one of 14 Oldsmobiles in this race. So is Hensley's. Bound up front. He's one of the 5 Pontiacs in the field. Bound, Hensley, Grissom the front 3. Tom Peck in 4th. Ottinger 5th. Tommy Ellis in 6th. Kenny Wallace 7th. Bobby Labonte 8th. 9th is Robert Presley. 10th, Tommy Houston. Back in 11th, Bobby Hamilton. 12th is Elton Sawyer. And 13th is Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton now trying to take over from Elton Sawyer. See the leader Chuck Brown. It's not been headed yet. Nobody has even made a move at trying to pass him. So these cars didn't get a great deal of practice because they were due to practice qualifying on Thursday. Rained all day, didn't get on the racetrack. So they had to do double duty on Saturday. And just hadn't had a lot of track time. So Chuck's car was working extremely well. Much better than anybody's in the field right now since they've had limited practice.
Jimmy Spencer back on the racetrack, several laps down, and still smoke coming from the rear of the Food Country machine. Bound in front, at the front of the pack. Hensley 2nd, Grissom 3rd. Single file. Battle for 5th coming up here. This will be 5th spot. LD Ottinger has it, and Tommy Ellis wants it. Ellis in his last ride for the J&J Racing Team. They announced here yesterday. In a bit of a pleasant surprise, Jeff Burton, the young driver who's come out of the late model stock car ranks, will be the team's driver full-time for 1991, that 99 car. What a great move that is, career move for Jeff Burton.
Absolutely. I talked to Jeff earlier this morning. He's very excited about it, very positive. Feels that they can make a good start run for the championship next year. The final part to that story is that Tommy Ellis has signed to drive the Speedway Motorsports Buick next year. That car's been busy racing today, so Tommy will do full-time duty there. He is also equally excited about his chances. Tommy is at the point in his career now that he realizes that it's awfully tough to be car owner, chief mechanic, the guy that does everything. So he's looking forward to a good relationship with Cooper and the Speedway Motorsports Buick. So it'll be interesting to see. Both of them have expressed desires they would like to win this last race that they're competing in today for their present car owners. And now Ellis has moved under LD Ottinger and has taken away the 5th position. Tommy Ellis on the move right now. You can see car number 36, Kenny Wallace, also taking the position away from LD. So Kenny moves into 6th place, kicks LD back to 7th.
And that 99 car will move headquarters as well. Both Hapke and John Jackson, the owners, are going to turn the day-to-day operation of the team over to Darrell Bryan, longtime Winston crew chief for Jeff Burton. Now Ottinger got kicked back 2 spots in that, and he's changing rides for next year as well.
Yep, LD is forming his own team. Replacing the car number 2, Detroit Gaskin's car, so he's going to form his own team. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. You're going to see all the same faces, just maybe in different places.
Oh, Headache City. Get out the goodies for guys like us trying to sort all that out at Daytona in February.
Got a good battle going on there. That's car number 59, Robert Presley, moving on the inside of Bobby Labonte, car number 44.
8th place at stake. To confuse things more, the Wallace brothers are in this race. Well, Rusty's been up here with the NASCAR officials in the tower, but his younger brother, Mike Wallace, raced here today, and youngest brother, Kenny Wallace, is in the race in 36, just out of your picture at the moment. As Bobby Labonte continues to backslide. Ralph Sheen will have that story for us in a moment. Labonte really needs a good run here to hang on to 3rd in the points. He came in here just 25 points ahead of Steve Grissom, and there's a good bit of Busch point money at stake. But he continues to backslide. Now Jeff Burton in the Armor Meats car is underneath Bobby Labonte, and Burton will move up 1 marker, and that'll put Jeff into the top 10, not quite, 11th spot. Labonte continues to back up.
Yeah, this is not a good sign for Bobby early on because there's a tremendous amount of money difference in the finish in those Busch Grand National point standings.
Steve Grissom gets underneath Jimmy Hensley, and that'll change 2nd spot. So as Labonte moves back, Grissom moves up. Steve Grissom now 2nd.
Yeah, I think that Hensley was holding Grissom up just a little bit. I think you'll see Grissom challenge leader Chuck Brown for the first time today. Nobody has put a move on Brown yet. I believe Grissom can be the man.
Meanwhile, Labonte has fallen back now to the 13th position in the field. There's Bobby.
One place Bobby doesn't want to be is in that outside groove, but what's happening is he just can't get a bite out there, and every time a car gets under him, the guy right behind him dives in under him with him. He's got a little bit of a break after the cars that he's battling with right now, so maybe he can get down on that inside lane and get things sorted out for himself. He's really backsliding to his back right now.
Bobby Dotter getting the position. 12 spot away from Labonte, and you see he just cannot get down to the bottom of the racetrack before Elton Sawyer is right there.
Mike, we talked to Bobby Labonte's father, Bob Labonte, his crew chief. We asked him what the problem was. He says the car's pushing in the corners. They think they have a tire going down. I asked him how long they stay out there. He said if it holds like it is, they'll stay till the very end. They won't come in unless they absolutely have to.
Labonte battling Elton Sawyer. Interestingly, only two drivers missed driver introductions today, Elton Sawyer and Patty Moise. They're engaged to be married.
On November 24th, they started the honeymoon a little early.
Sawyer underneath the 44 car, Bobby Labonte. They got a nice presentation from Speedway President Clay Campbell here in pre-race, who told the couple he hopes their only battles are on the racetrack.
You can see Elton Sawyer 27 move by Bobby Labonte in 44. Bobby's car simply will not turn down the racetrack in the center of the corner. He obviously has a tire problem of some sort.
At the front of the pack, Chuck Bound now feeling the pressure from Steve Grissom. Hensley in third. Well back. Tom Peck in fourth. Tommy Ellis fifth. Kenny Wallace, L.D. Ottinger, and Tommy Houston. They're on back.
Right now, Steve Grissom is the fastest car on the racetrack. It only took him about 3 laps once he moved by car number 25 with Jimmy Hensley. We got a smoker going down the front stretch. Car number 59, Robert Presley, looks like he's losing an engine. But Bound has had nobody challenge him yet. But Steve Grissom has wasted no time in running him down, and I think now he's just waiting for Chuck to make a little slip. He's stick the nose of that number 31 Big Mama Meat Snacks Pontiac up underneath him and try to take away that lead.
That's the way it looks at the front of the field. There's about 2 seconds back to third place Jimmy Hensley.
Let me correct myself. That's the Big Mama Meat Snacks Cold Field. See if the after me on that.
Back behind Hensley in third, Tom Peck, Tommy Ellis challenging Kenny Wallace. There's Robert Presley, a little bit less smoke than before, out of that 59 car, running just ahead of Bobby Moon, and now Presley will take it to pit road.
Presley has been running awfully strong. He moved up into about the 6th or 7th position in car number 59. Now it looks like his day is going to be shortened somewhat. He's got oil. You can see oil coming out of the exhaust pipe at the right time. He's definitely got some car.
Jimmy Spencer in the 75 car, who appeared to have rear-end trouble early, is back out on the racetrack. So perhaps that'll look for something as well that they have corrected. Spencer is back running. We've completed 42 of the 200 laps. Chuck Bound and Steve Grissom are the class of the field here at Martinsville, Virginia, in the curtain closer. Busch Grand National Racing 1990.
You know, it'd be awfully strong if Grissom could win this race. Finish with 2 victories in a row and still not have a sponsor.
I'll bet we'll have one after long if he can knock this one down. Grissom chasing Chuck Bound in Martinsville, Virginia. We'll be back with more of the Winston Classic. 6 cars on the lead lap. 1/4 distance complete here at Martinsville, Virginia. Chuck Bound lapping past William Patterson, as does Steve Grissom. There, the front two. The action has been largely behind them while we were away. Jimmy Hensley holding on to third spot, but fourth changed hands. Tommy Ellis in the 99 had moved up to fourth. Kenny Wallace following him through into fifth. That dropped Tom Peck back to the 6th spot. Ottinger 7th, Houston 8th. Jeff Burton's moved up to 9th, displacing Bobby Hamilton, who sits in 10th. Bobby Dotter is 11th, and Elton Sawyer is 12th. Here's a look at it as Tommy Houston gained a spot. Trouble down in turn 2. Billy Standridge has spun around as we have a look at this replay. Tommy Ellis getting underneath Tom Peck. That moves him up to 4th. And we're under caution now as the Billy Standridge car gets turned around down in turn number 2. They will run back to the flag technically, though they're under gentleman's agreement to back out of it unless somebody's trying to get a lap back.
And this early in the race, there's not too much of that going on, so all the cars were, the leaders were able to get down on the racetrack. Here we get a look at the end of that action there. See Standridge losing it going into turn 1, spins around. That's car number 75, I believe, Jimmy Spencer, making an evasive move on the outside of it. So Standridge just got in the corner a little hard. Looks like the brakes might have locked up or something. Looped it around, no contact with the wall. Right in the car, kept going, so he's back out in the running.
And a nice move by Donnie Ling on the inside to get past the spinning Standridge. 52 laps complete. Let's have a look at the Quaker State 50-lap summary brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. No lead changes as Chuck Bound had led from the pole. 2 cautions for 4 laps to that point. We're still working that second caution. Average speed 84.9 miles per hour. And as we're under this caution flag, Rick Mast, Ed Barrier, Morgan Shepherd are the cars reported out of the race. They've since been joined by Robert Presley, whose car is behind the wall. Tommy Houston on pit road. Taking a look at the right rear, Scott Houston and crew.
Yeah, Scott, who is Tommy's son and also the crew chief, jumped down and was checking that right rear tire. I don't know if they felt like they had too much air in it or not enough, but they were adjusting the air pressure. Looks like they were letting some air out of the tire, so the car might have been spinning just a little bit. Let a little air out of it and get a better bite.
Bobby Moon's on pit road also, and he's in the middle of a hot point battle. Here's Steve Grissom coming down pit road on the front side, second place car. Grissom gives up very important track position to get fuel.
Well, he does, but it certainly takes the doubt out now. He'll be able to go the rest of the way, as will Tommy Houston. They feel like they've got roughly 150 laps left in the race, that they can use that time to work their way back up toward the front of the pack. So if it does come down to a fuel situation, right now the odds are on Tommy Houston and Steve Grissom at car number 31.
Also pitting on the backside, Donnie Ling, Bobby Hillen, and Wayne Patterson. Pace car is in. Now he pulls in on the backstretch here at Martinsville now. That's a departure from past practice. And Steve Grissom at the tail end of the field will be half a lap down to the race leader as they bunch up for the green flag. Grissom's benefit, to Grissom's benefit, Bound and bring them around slowly. Green is on. And Grissom with a full head of steam along with Tommy Houston rattles past cars in the backstretch going to turn 3, gaining a couple of spots.
Well, that's moved, of course, Chuck Bound, car number 63, still leading it, and Jimmy Hensley at 25 has moved back up to the second position on virtually full Christian pit stop. But old car number 99, the Goo Goo Clusters car of Tommy Ellis, is banging on the back door of Jimmy Hensley. It won't be long before you see him stick the nose on and try to take away that second position.
Ellis knows his way to victory lane here at Martinsville.
About as well as anybody that's in this race today.
Yes, sir. So too does Jimmy Hensley. Chuck Bound trying to find it at the front of the field. Kenny Wallace is 4th. Tom Peck now 5th. L.D. Ottinger in 6th. Let's have a look at Steve Grissom coming up from the back of the pack.
So on the outside of Mike Wallace, car number 40, wasting no time in putting him back in position. Grissom doesn't seem to have suffered any problems. He just got a lot of ground to make up on the racetrack.
Battle for second. Ellis has it. Hensley's out of it. And here comes Kenny Wallace, who's been doing a good job of following Ellis up through. Wallace in the 36 car.
Jimmy Hensley just backed us and ain't got the whole part of this early race. You guys want to go up there, go on. I'm going to sit here and try to save my tires. I don't think you can last with that kind of race.
The man who's run the smart race here has been Kenny Wallace, because every door that Tommy Ellis has opened, Kenny has closed behind him.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one thing that's good about Martinsville Raceway. If you got a guy in front of you that's running really well, he gets under a guy, gets him up in that outside lane, and you can just dive right down there under too. So Tommy Ellis is opening all the doors, and Kenny Wallace is just walking right through them with him.
The big one to open, though, will be that up front, where Chuck Bound has held the lead since the drop of the green flag. 54 of 200 laps completed. That will end the Busch Grand National season. Steve Grissom now mired in the back part of midfield. Tommy Houston coming up well. Grissom trying to climb up through. And let's give a call to Jack Ingram running in the 12th spot as we watch leader Chuck Bound and the front 3 continuing to keep close tabs. Wallace is getting a little bit loose there in the green and white. Cox wood preserving number 36. Ingram in running what may have been his last Busch Grand National race. He announced his retirement at the end of the year, but has since said that he's going to run a farewell tour next season at selected racetracks, but this is the last regular season of competition for the man they've called the Iron Man.
And Jack is looking for somebody to put in that car for the remainder of the races, so he's definitely on the lookout. Probably a good, strong young contender that he can bring up. Jack still has good equipment, and I think it would be a good situation for whoever he puts into that car.
Chuck Bound, the race leader. A look back, there's Steve Grissom battling Billy Standridge. He just got past Mike McLaughlin. They started this race top 20 based on points, but set the qualifying races for Saturday in a strange manner. They did that entirely by postmark of the entry flag. So that put a lot of good cars in the back of the field, having to earn their way into the show in the 25-lap heat race.
probably put some good ideas into Clay Earl and Clay Campbell's hands too, because those are two of the most exciting Busch qualifying races we've seen here in a number of years, because you didn't necessarily have the fastest cars up front.
Caution is waving at lap 63 on the flag stand. And it must be for debris on the racetrack, as the Chevrolet safety truck gets dispatched down at the south end of the speedway. 26 cars on the lead lap. Looks like some debris up in 1 and 2. That has occasioned this caution flag. You get a little bit of beat and bang in this division. You have things like headlight doors and spoiler pieces and brake ducts sitting out on the racetrack from time to time. And let's have a look down at the Chuck Bound pit, because it looks like the board is out for the Busch Grand National Champion and the race leader, but they let him go by this time. So Bound, a little bit of strategy being played out here in his pit. The board is out now. Whether or not they'll actually bring him in is that question. That bit of strategy we've seen before, throwing the dummy, as it were. Not the man standing out there, but holding out that board and then not making the stop. So the pace car will lead them around one more time as the track truck continues to make its circuit.
Well, crew chief Jeff Hensley in car number 63 went over and asked the NASCAR official at the end of pit road there if indeed how many laps they were going to run. If indeed there were going to be one more lap. The safety truck is off the track. They picked up some debris going into turn 3. So it'll be interesting. Here comes Chuck down pit road, so he's going to take that gamble.
And it'll be 1 lap to go. So Bound comes in at lap 64 for fuel. He is the third of the top drivers to make a pit stop. Steve Grissom and Tommy Houston were in previously. Let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
They're checking the tire pressure on the other side, putting in some gas, and as soon as they're done, Chuck will be out of here. The gas is done. They're checking the pressure. Jeff Hensley, crew chief, talking to Chuck Bound, making sure that everything is the same right where they want it. They're not in a big hurry. Bobby Labonte in here doing the same, and he is on his way out. They wiped away some debris from the front of the car, and Chuck Bound will return to the action.
So safe to say that Ellis, Wallace, and Hensley have no intention of pitting, because this would have been the time.
Oh, absolutely. With this much time left in the race, if they were going to play their cards, take that gamble, they would have had to roll the dice right now. They chose not to do it. So the die is cast. We're going to see what happens from here on out.
25th and 26th position for Labonte and Hensley. Green flag. Jimmy Spencer's up there on the outside trying to get one of his multitude of laps that he's down. Back from race leader Tommy Ellis. Two of the hardest heads in the business are going to go at it right here.
And car number 99 is going to win this time. He's on the inside of the lane, and so it won't be long before he does kick Spencer back another lap. And they touch coming off the corner. Spencer's loose and out of control.
I'll tell you, two guys guaranteed to get the fans on their feet. It's Ellis and Spencer.
Spencer pins Ellis right down against the bottom of the racetrack, but then he moves up, slips up in the outside lane. Tommy accelerates by him as they go down the back straight.
Two top talents, Tommy Ellis and Jimmy Spencer, going at it. Side by side, Spencer dirt tracks it out of 4 and hangs onto it. Kenny Wallace right in there, trying to move up on underneath. Hensley right behind him, and Tom Peck, Jeff Burton, and Bobby Hamilton. Good battle there in the lap car. Kenny Wallace bumps the curbing and then gets into the side of Jimmy Spencer. Hangs on to it. Hope that didn't upset Wallace's car.
Appears to be okay, but and he bumps the curb going into 1, and then he gets into Spencer, and it allows car number 25, Jimmy Hensley, to move underneath Wallace as they go down the backstretch. So Kenny hit the curb at 3 and 4, and he also hit it 1 and 2 to cost him the position.
He does manage to hold on to second from Jimmy Hensley. Look for a moment there like Hensley will get the spot. Tom Peck, L.D. Ottinger, and Jeff Burton coming up. Now they've settled down single file after this third caution flag of the day. 70 laps complete. Tommy Ellis, the race leader. Kenny Wallace in second. We'll pause now for a regional break. The Winston Classic on Sports Channel America will return after Tommy Ellis is at the front of the field. He and Chuck Bound, the only two drivers to lead this race, as it completes 74 laps. Some of the drivers that made pit stops moving back up. There's Steve Grissom in 31 and the 6 of Tommy Houston. Both coming back up through. They are currently 14th and 15th position.
Also to update you on Chuck Bound, who ducked in his pits under that last caution. Chuck has now moved up into the 20th position. So what they would like to see right now, obviously, would be another caution flag to help close the gap that has developed between him and the front runner Tommy Ellis.
John Linville just ahead of Grissom there in the 62 car in 13th spot. Joe Nemechek and 5 car of Ward Burton.
You saw car number 62, John Linville, really closed the door on 31 Steve Grissom. Grissom got a pretty good run in it. Coming off forward, dove under and going down the front stretch. Linville slammed the door flat in his face as they entered turn 1.
Linville in that Halloween-colored car, number 62.
Pretty broken this time of year.
He's in 13th position.
Probably looked pretty scary to Steve Grissom when he saw that thing coming down across the racetrack, too.
We're back up front. This is Tommy Ellis, the race leader. Trying to put another Martinsville grandmother clock in his living room, and Chuck Bound looks like he's in trouble.
Yeah, a little bit of smoke coming out of Chuck's car, and he's turning down pit road, making that left turn. So looks like whatever the problem was, they came to check, is still wrong with the car.
Ralph Shaheen, what's the deal?
Mike, it seems that he's lost a cylinder. That was the initial report from Jeff Henson and crew chief. You can see them going under, taking a look, and apparently Chuck noticed that there was a problem. He had shut the car off, and it looks like the day is coming to a quick end for Chuck Bound. The window net is coming down.
Tough break for the new Busch Grand National champion. He'll do his celebrating from the sidelines this afternoon. Wayne Patterson also out of it, out of the race here today. Up front, Tommy Ellis right now, for the moment, is all alone.
Yeah, that altercation between 75 Spencer and 36 Kenny Wallace early on, when Wallace was trying to put Spencer a lap down, really enabled Tommy Ellis to move out to about a 15-18 car length lead. He is virtually all alone on the racetrack now. There's not any lap traffic directly ahead of him, so he can make good time.
Good battle back in the field. There is 8th place Jack Ingram. He just moved around Bobby Hamilton, not without leaving a calling card or two on Hamilton's Buick. And in the thick of that has been groomed to be Elton Sawyer in 27, just ahead of the Ingram car as they go up to turn 3 in the Martinsville Speedway. From L.D. Ottinger on back, Ottinger, the 6th place car, things are getting a little bit close.
Getting very close, and we see some, I guess it's paper blowing up the racetrack. I thought it was debris, but Jack Ingram has always been very forthright and outspoken, saying that Martinsville's not but he always seems to run very well here. And he's indeed doing that today, making his last regularly scheduled stop on this racetrack. So Jack's car looks like it's hooked up really well right now, and shouldn't be too long before he's able to contend with Elton Sawyer for another spot on the racetrack.
Speaking of spots, second has changed hands. There's Elton Sawyer moving up on L.D. Ottinger. Tom Peck has gone up a notch. That'd make that 3rd in front of Jimmy Hensley. There's Peck in the 96 car out of Maryland. He's had a really strong season. I think he's run much better than a lot of people anticipated, and he's showing his stuff right here as he has 3rd place and sprints away.
Absolutely. He has turned in some very, very solid performances. He has yet to win, but I don't think that's too awful far in the future for him. He's got good equipment, a good crew chief in Red Skagels, and I think that has probably been the most positive influence on him this year.
Peck is that Carolina Blue number 96, just ahead of Hensley in 25, and Jeff Burton coming up. What a success story. Burton has been on the Busch Tour this year. He won the last race here in September and has the full-time ride in the 99 car for next season. Let's go down to pit road.
Well, Mike, he won the championship, but the luck couldn't hold out for one more race. Chuck, what went wrong?
Well, something went away in the motor. I think we broke a rocker arm or a lifter or something like that. You know, the luck just hasn't been as bad in the final stretch. Glad we had the big lead we had, but it's been a great year for the Nescafe Classic Pontiac Racing team, and I want to thank everybody with this team that's been a part of this tremendous year we've had. We were hoping to wrap it up with a victory here at Martinsville, and had I known the motor was going to let us down, I wouldn't have come in for fuel right there. I'd have stayed out in front anyway, but the car was running good. You know, we thought we had a good chance today, but our day ended early, so we'll never know. I guess I'm going to be watching it with everybody else now.
Steve Grissom tried the same strategy as used coming in early. Did that seem to be the thing to do here today, do you think?
I should have actually came in when he came in if I was going to do it. I think he made the ideal move. He's definitely got enough fuel to make it to the end. Now it's just a matter if he can get there.
Well, Chuck Bound lost his battle, but he won the war, and now maybe Steve Grissom is in the spot to win this battle.
Winning his own battle is Jeff Burton in the number 12 car. The Armor Meats machine. He takes a spot away from Jimmy Hensley, moves him up to 4th on line.
Mike, back last month in September when the Busch Grand National cars were last here, Jeff Burton won the race here in Martinsville. He loves this racetrack. He obviously knows his way around it right now as he's moved that car up to the third position.
He's one of a number of drivers that have come up out of the
trouble with car number 99, Tommy Ellis. The leader has erupted an engine, it looks like.
And will stay green as the rest of the field flies down into that smoky turn number 1.
He's still accelerating, so it looks like it might be an oil line. The car accelerated down the backstretch, so I believe it just blew an oil line.
Coming out of the oil cooler lives right in front of that front wheel. It looks like it's coming out of the center wheel. Wheel bearing, something like that.
Possibility.
Well, it's going to bring it to pit road. His luck here has been hot and cold. Is there, and so is Ralph.
Mike, the initial report out of the crew before they had a chance to take a look under the hood was a problem with the valve cover. We're trying to get ourselves in a position where we can see. Tommy seems to be unstrapping himself out of the car, and the crew is not exactly running around too fast. It looks like Tommy Ellis' day might be coming to an end as well.
Bobby Hillen has parked the split fire spark plugs Pontiac as well, raising the attrition rate. Ellis stays in the car for the moment. Climbs out of that car, it will be for the last time as he moves on to Speedway Motorsports. That moves Kenny Wallace to the front of the parade. Talk about a guy that's looking for a big win. Kenny Wallace is on the top of the list today.
He sure is. He has probably been the strongest contender this year that has not won a race to this point, and he would like nothing better than to finish up the 1990 season in first place here at Martinsville Speedway.
Oldest brother Rusty is here, the defending Cup champ, on hand to watch, and older brother Mike Wallace is in this race in the number 40 car. Kenny, the youngest of the racing Wallaces, 7 years junior to Winston Cup champ Rusty. He is the new race leader. Rising turn of events here at Martinsville Speedway. Wallace the leader, Tom Peck is second, Jeff Burton is third, Jimmy Hensley is fourth, Ottinger fifth. We'll be back. He is, we believe, unofficially 3 or 4 laps down. Wheel bearing reported problem. 36 Kenny Wallace is the race leader. Boy, things have heated up, though, in the battle for second spot. Behind this man, Kenny Wallace. Tom Peck has the second spot, the blue car, number 96, and Jeff Burton wants it.
He sure does. Jeff running extremely well right now. He's just waiting for Peck to make the slightest little slip so he can get the nose of that number 12 car right underneath him. He has dogged him really hard for the last 4 or 5 laps.
That's the battle for second and third, right behind them. Strong struggle for fourth. Jimmy Hensley trying to hold off L.D. Ottinger, Elton Sawyer, Jack Ingram, Steve Grissom up to the back after that pit stop, and Bobby Hamilton are all part of that fracas. Then it's a gap back to Tommy Houston, Ward Burton, Bobby Doddard machine. 20 cars on the lead lap. Halfway, 101 laps now complete. Of the 200 they'll run here. Then the Winston Modified Tour takes to the track to conclude racing's wildest triple header and the short track season.
You see Jimmy Hensley lead there again. You see Tom Peck. You saw Hensley leading that pack of cars for fourth, fifth, and sixth. Burton really trying to put a move on him. He's got a fender up underneath him now as they go down the backstretch. See if he can carry the corner hard enough. Peck doesn't give him room, shuts the door. Jeff has to fall back in line. He's going to try him again coming off the forward, but he had to wait a little bit for Peck to get in line. Run up on the corner that he wanted for him. I think that Jeff Burton's car is a little bit stronger right now. He's just got to pick and choose the exact proper time. There he's trying it again as they come off the 2. His car accelerates extremely well. I believe he's going to take the position now. Yes, indeed. Peck backs out and lets Jeff Burton move on into second position.
Boy, it's been great to watch Burton mature as a driver since we first saw him here at Martinsville in the late model stock car division. So Jeff Burton moves up into second place.
I think if the guys that ran the late model stock car division are rooting for somebody right now to win this race, it has to be number 12, Jeff Burton, because he's one of their own. He came out of that division, and now he's challenging the best down here.
Hensley loses a spot to L.D. Ottinger in the process here. Let's have a look at our 100-lap Quaker State summary brought to you by Quaker State, One Top Motor Oil. Kenny Wallace, the race leader. That was the third change of lead. Bound, Ellis, and Wallace have been our leaders. 3 caution flags for 9 laps to this point. Average speed dips to 77.5 miles per hour. Out of the race, Rick Mast, Ed Barrier, Morgan Shepherd, and Robert Presley were all out early. Wade Patterson, Chuck Bound, and now Bobby Hillen will join that list of cars that have fallen by the wayside. Kenny Wallace has done just about everything but win this season. He is third, or rather, he is fifth in the points. He could take fourth away from Steve Grissom with a good finish here today. 4 top 5 and 14 top 10 finishes, $92,000 in earnings. He is the only driver. Don't check that. Ian Labonte, the only drivers in the top 6 not to
by most standards, it would have been a pretty good season, you know, that Kenny Wallace had. But by virtue of his not having a victory to this point, it's got to be a little bit disappointing too, because they came into this season with really high hopes of winning several races and also the national championship.
Kenny Wallace, the race leader. And we'll clock back to his lead over Jeff Burton. Burton, the second place car. It's about a quarter of a lap, and it's 5.3 seconds. The advantage right now. Burton is pulling away from second place Tom Peck. Third place Tom Peck, fourth place Ellie Doctor, and Jimmy Hensley now fifth.
Doctor's starting to gain a little ground on the third place car with Tom Peck, so it'll be interesting to see if he can take that position. Like, you can see the car just in front of Kenny Wallace there was 75. He's still just one lap down. He got one of the laps back. You see Jimmy Hensley there in front of that back in front of Elton Sawyer.
Something's going to happen there. Sawyer is right behind Hensley. Jack Ingram is there, and Steve Grissom in 31, one of the quickest cars in this race, and one of the drivers who made a pit stop and elected to try to march back up through traffic. Trying to get the job done here. Bobby Hamilton right with him. 20 cars remain on the lead lap.
Elton Sawyer's car, you can see it kick out just a little of the exit of turn 2. The car's a little bit loose. Right behind Elton, number 11, Skull Bandit, and Jack Ingram. And Steve Grissom, 31, has been leaving his calling card on the back bumper of Jack Ingram. He just has to make a dive down underneath. He's going down the front stretch, and there he goes, taking that position away from Jack Ingram. So he finally got the opening he was looking for, turned it into a gain of position on the racetrack.
Bobby Hamilton kind of tickled the back bumper.
I think one of the reasons Grissom was in a hurry to get by Ingram was that Hamilton really put some pressure on him. So.
Trouble in 3. One car goes spinning up to the top of the racetrack. Looks like Donnie Ling's machine, the Oldsmobile, out of Brick, New Jersey. And he's already got the window net down and ready to climb out of it. To give us caution at lap 112. Tough break for a driver who really did a great job yesterday trying to qualify for this event. He got in quite a battle with Max Prestwood. Prestwood, I guess it would be fair to say Prestwood spun him, and then Ling kind of returned the favor. A little later in the race, came back up to gain a spot in this race. 113 laps complete. Kenny Wallace, the race leader. Jeff Burton in second. We'll be back to Martinsville Speedway after these messages. At Martinsville Speedway, working the fourth caution of the day. Some drivers have been in and out of the pits. Jimmy Hensley now finally making a stop as they crank some left rear wedge into the fast fair machine. What about leader Kenny Wallace? Well, what about it? Let's find out from Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, there's a new player in the pits here for Kenny Wallace, and it's this man, Steve Bird. Steve, as you might remember, helped Rob Moroso win his Busch Grand National Championship, and he helped Steve Grissom out this year. Steve was with Kenny's team last week at Rockingham, but they did not use his setup. This week, they are using his setup. And Steve, is the setup and everything working for you the way you'd hoped?
Yeah, we're working real good. Hopefully, Kenny's the car staying the same, working real good. So it's still a long way to go here at Martinsville. We're hoping to bring it home.
Do you think you're going to have to come in, or can he make it all the way?
No, we definitely can go the whole way.
As you can tell from that accent, he's from New Hampshire.
I thought that he might be from north of Carolina.
Yeah, way north of Carolina.
Right.
A longtime crew chief. Got his first shot with Peter Fiandaco, one of the best of the low buck runners New England's ever produced. Won a lot of races and titles with Peter. Came down here to run in the South, worked for the Raceville Farm team and Cup racing for a while, and found a home in the Busch Grand National Series. Kind of like the Jake Elder of this series. It seems that everything he touches turns to victory lane. See if he can do the job for Kenny Wallace here. Lap cars on the outside, Resendiz, Scandridge, and Ellis. Trying to line up in double. Let's make that double file order. There we go. Kenny Wallace in 36, Jeff Burton in 12, Tom Peck in 96, L.D. Ottinger in number 2, and then Steve Grissom in the white car number 31 has fought his way back to 5th spot.
Boy, Kenny Wallace got a great jump on that restart there. He pulled the field by about 4 or 5 car lengths there. I think he really left Jeff Burton sitting in his wake.
Burton had to learn something on that one. Front 5, single file bottom of the racetrack, make that front 6. 19 cars on the lead lap. Good competitive race here at Martinsville. And has seen first Chuck Bound lead and fall out of the race. Tommy Ellis lead and forced to pit with a wheel bearing problem. And now Kenny Wallace up front. We'll take you back and show you where your favorite driver sits at the bottom of the screen here after 115 laps. Elton Sawyer getting jostled around a bit back there. And it's Ellis right behind him. Tommy several laps down. 4 laps behind. running hard.
Well, if there were 40 left in this game,
No question.
toughest competitors there is in this division. He loves Busch National.
Well, Ellis leaves this ride after today, so he doesn't have to bring anything back to the steering wheel.
He pops Lee Standard. He's a good stretch. Billy, and he left, as you say, calling card on the left or right. Left foot.
Fifth place Steve Grissom in 31. Getting a little antsy there. Right behind them, there's that battle, Elton Sawyer, with the lap cars of Ellis and Resendi. I hate to have that in my mirror.
Elton's done a pretty good job of holding off. Tommy's car is still running well. Running well enough to win the race. He's not had that wheel bearing problem. But now he's just trying to fight this way back and throw it back and make up for that loss.
There's Jack Ingram, the 7th place car, and Tommy Houston, who's come from the back to run 8th. Number 5 of Ford Burton, who is 9th. Elton Sawyer's the 6th place car. Waltney's machine having a good run here today. 6th, but Steve Grissom, the 5th place machine, has run off and left him. There's Tommy Houston clearing traffic in the number 6, Rosa Store Buick, along with Jack Ingram. Ford Burton down the inside, number 5, daring move, and he's going to make it work against the lap car percentage. Mike Wallace in the Lowe's food cart following him up through. And we're back up toward the front of the field once again. Stretching it out a bit, 4th and 5th place is at stake there, Ottinger and Grissom. Leaving Tom Peck to run uncontested. The blue car is 3rd.
I think you're going to see Grissom be able to make a pass on Ottinger. He's really been banging on the back bumper for the last few laps. He's going to be able to make the move, get underneath him. LD's car seems to slip a little, and particularly off the turn 4. Grissom's car is hooked up pretty well right now, so he's just waiting on LD to give him just a little bit of daylight and just stick the nose up and drive on by.
You'll see that. Look at the windshield of Ottinger's car as he comes off the corner. He gets just that little extra little hitch to get it squared away.
And when you see those guys doing that off turn 4, turn 4 is a little bit flatter than turn 2 is when you exit that, so it tends to make the car want to kick out just a little bit more. But if your car's hooked up tight, you can really get under the guy because as he's spinning those rear tires and your car's biting, it'll give you just enough of an advantage to get up underneath and make that pass.
24 of the 32 starters still running. Up front, it's Kenny Wallace. In 2nd, Jeff Burton. In the Armour Buick in 3rd. Tom Peck. Running 4th, LD Ottinger. 5th is Steve Grissom. That's the battle we're watching right now. Right behind them, 6th is Elton Sawyer. 7th is Jack Ingram. 8th, Tommy Houston. 9th is Ford Burton. Mike Wallace having a good run here. He's 10th. Joe Nemechek, the leading rookie on the tour, is 11th. John Linville, 12th. Patty Moe is a good run for Patty. She's 13th and on the lead lap. Mike McLaughlin had to run the heat races here. Ronnie Bouchard used to call them meat races. And he's in 14th spot. And back in 15th is Bobby Labonte. The Winston Classic continues in Martinsville. We'll pause for a regional break. Wallace leads this race, but there is trouble developing on the 2nd place car. Here is Jeff Burton, and he's been trailing a bit of smoke from the back end of the car.
Well, one lap ago, Mike, when he came off of turn 4, the plume of smoke was rushing into the car, but now it seems to have cleared. He slowed just momentarily when the smoke came out, but now he's under full throttle, so it'll be interesting if Ralph can find out exactly what the problem was with the car.
Passing gas. He's the 2nd place car, and the 3rd place car is Tom Peck. In 4th is Steve Grissom, and nowhere on that list will you find Jimmy Hensley. Hensley's car has gone behind the wall. We'll get word from there in just a moment. Let's go to Ralph.
Mike, we're standing here with Jimmy Hensley. Jimmy, can you tell us what went wrong?
Oh, we lost the cylinder. I don't know what valve spring or rocker arm or what, but no sense then I don't 5 cylinder. You know, we're not going to gain anything. We're not going to lose anything, so we just thought we'd park it.
Well, he will take 2nd in the points for 1990.
Tough break for the hometown hero, Jimmy Hensley, from Ridgeway, Virginia, right next door to the racetrack. Almost. Won't get a chance to challenge and pick up that win today.
No, bad day for both of them challenge cars here today. The car struck down, exited earlier, and now Jimmy Hensley's out. And fortunately for both of them, they didn't have anything to lose by having to take an early exit from the race other than their finishing.
Kenny Wallace running up front. Now Jeff Burton, who had that big plume of smoke, though, is still running and holding 2nd spot. Whatever that was. Tom Peck is 3rd. Having a great run here today in the Ott Brothers machine. In fourth, Steve Grissom, but Grissom is running right behind Tommy Ellis, who's 4 laps down. There's Jeff Burton.
Yeah, Burton's car seemingly performing flawlessly right now, so still don't know what the problem was there. Just all at once, a big puff of smoke came out. It's a little hard to even, I can't even imagine what that's doing.
There's Tom Peck in 96.
There you see Ellis still 4 laps down. He moved by L.D. Ottinger, Steve Grissom, and now trying to roll by the third place car of Tom Peck. And that's a little bit unnerving for you to be running up there in the top 3 or 4 like that and having a car that's 2 or 3 laps down, muscling his way by you like that. But Ellis is on a mission to get back up front, try to get as many laps back as he can. But still, you don't like that, but that's part of racing, something you just got to put up with.
Grissom is trying to use Ellis to open the door on Tom Peck. Won't happen this time. Ellis is 4 laps down. Billy Standridge is 3 down. First 19 cars are all on the lead lap. L.D. Ottinger has lost a spot to the Gwaltney's car of Elton Sawyer. So Sawyer moves up onto the leaderboard, number 27 in 5th position. Ottinger drops to 6th. That one's not over. Jack Ingram is right up on Ottinger. They have raced together for, I can't count how many years. At least 10.
They've been together for a long, long time. Back up front, Steve Grissom was able to take the third place away from Tom Peck. They made a little contact going down into turn 1. Peck got a little bit out of shape, and Grissom motored right on by.
We'll have another look at it. Peck may have still been steaming from Tommy Ellis running him hard. But Ellis had already gone by.
Yeah. Steve got into the corner pretty hard there. Tom was moving down into the groove. Steve bumped him and was able to drive right on by. You see him touch again, you see the smoke come out. Yeah, as they exited turn 2, they made some more contact. But I don't believe that Peck's car is quite strong enough now to put a challenge back on Steve to return that favor.
Mike Holyfield and Buster Douglas for just a moment there. We're back up front with Kenny Wallace, looking for his first win of the season. Cap quite a season for this young man out of Valley Park, Missouri. He is 5th in the points. Right now, if the race were to end at the moment with Steve Grissom in 3rd, Wallace would remain 5th in the Busch Grand National standings, but Grissom would leapfrog past Bobby Labonte into 3rd from his current 4th place standing. Jeff Burton continues to run 2nd after that mysterious eruption of smoke. Let's get the story from Ralph Shaheen.
Mike Samhart is the crew chief for Jeff. Sam, can you tell me about what was going wrong with the car?
Well, what I think's going wrong with the car is the engine and everything's running great. The only thing I think happened is it blew a rag off the oil breathing cap and it's getting a little bit all over the header pipe.
I'll buy that.
It's kind of hard to imagine with $45,000 cars that they have to use a rag. But that's what they use, folks.
Yeah, that rag drops on the header, that you're going to get that.
What happens is that they put a rag there to keep the oil from spilling out, but it also enables the thing to breathe. And he said Sam seems to think that may have blown away and a little bit of oil got out on the header pipe, and that was it.
Take a look back to 5th place where Elton Sawyer continues to hold L.D. Ottinger, but Ottinger is coming back for a run at the 5th place car. And Ottinger, too, has nothing to bring back to the steering wheel. He exits this Detroit gasket car, the twin racing machine, after this race.
Well, I think that L.D. wants to bring more than the steering wheel back because he owns that car.
Oh.
So he probably wants to,
Oops, there goes Elton Sawyer. Hello, and hang on. And Sawyer gets displaced from 5th position.
See Sawyer sitting there, got just a little bit of a nudge. In a moment, you're going to see his fiancée, Patty Louise, pass it by. I want to see if she waves as she goes by.
Yes, she did. And Sawyer, he can't get it started.
No, that's one of the bad things about these cars. When they get hot like that and they stall, caution. Sometimes, and look, Patty Louise is spinning on the front stretch.
In sympathy, no doubt. Oh, boy. Well, the caution was already out. Patty didn't have to spin to bring it out for Elton.
I cannot believe the togetherness in that pair.
Wait till they get married.
Yeah.
We're going to have stuff to talk about all next season. Patty has a flat. Come on. She's got the right rear. Got cut down as she came off turn number 4. So we have the 5th caution flag of the day coming out of lap number 148. We're going to separate out who the ushers and the best man of the bridesmaids are going to be when we come back to the Martinsville Speedway. 148 laps completed. Kenny Wallace has the lead. 50 laps to go here at Martinsville Speedway for the Busch Grand National cars. The modifieds come up next, so stay with us. Elton Sawyer on pit road after this spin up in turn number 2. He and LD Ottinger just get together.
LD didn't hit him really that hard, but that's the critical point. In exiting the turn, you've got the wheel turned really sharply and touched it just enough. It's really unfortunate for Elton because the car stalled and it would not refire.
And then Elton's fiance, in a totally unrelated incident, comes off turn number 4 as they run back toward what is the caution flag. Watch the blue car.
And it looked like Patty cut the left rear tire somewhere along the line, and it caused her car to spin. Well, I guess the right rear tire, and it caused her car to spin around as she came down the front stretch. So, tough break for both competitors here, particularly for Elton. He was running in 6th position. He lost a couple of laps sitting there simply because the car would not refire.
You know, it looked like, Glenn, as the car spun, it looked like it might have counter-rotated, going backwards there, turned the engine the wrong way, filled it all up, and no way to get it refired if he wasn't able to get that clutch in. Gosh, tough break when one of those things stalls out like that. Worse had to go back to racing. And Sawyer, if he's 2 laps down, 15 cars are left on the lead lap. 49 laps to go. And again, Kenny Wallace gets a blistering jump on the restart.
Yeah, he's got him covered on the takeoffs today. Nobody can stay with him. You see Tommy Ellis in car number 99. Again, Ellis is 4 laps down. He's trying to move by Wallace.
Trouble in 2.
Wow. Elton Sawyer again.
And LD Ottinger again.
Wonder if that was a little payback.
Uh-oh, Mike Wallace gets tagged by Joe Nemechek and John Paul Linville. Coming back to the flag. No flag. We're still green. Everybody gets away.
Unbelievable.
No, good call by Robert Black and the NASCAR officials. Mike Wallace sprinted down pit road, and the track is clear. But it was Sawyer and Ottinger get together again.
Yep.
Now they're nose to tail back on the racetrack as we watch Kenny Wallace take them out of turn number 4.
What I meant by unbelievable is that they all got sorted out and got going again. It didn't have to throw a caution. That's good driving. Good maneuvering on everybody's part back there.
Up front, Kenny Wallace. He has Ellis as the bumper car 4 laps down. Separating him from number 12, Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton's got his rear control of Steve Grissom, car number 31. This last caution period really played well in the hands of Steve Grissom because it enabled him to make up the distance that he was lost on the racetrack. You see Elton Sawyer coming in now to make a stop
and go. He's been called in by NASCAR. We'll show you why as what happened here. Lap 2 to go. They're going to take the occasion to peel some stuff off the nose of the car. Sawyer is 27. Kabam.
Looks like Elton might have been using that as a payback for LD for the spin earlier when LD tapped him. NASCAR does not condone that. In fact, they frowned very severely on it. Elton had to come in for a stop-and-go penalty.
And it's safe to say LD does not figure in Sawyer's wedding plan. There's a stack up behind them. Mike Wallace is the loser in that one, the white car. Now he'll make the right turn and shoot down pit road, make the 180, and get away. That's why there was no caution, but now we have one. Caution has now come out. Again, apparently for debris out on the racetrack.
And if I were a guessing man or a betting man, I would bet the debris is somewhere over around the exit of turn 2, somewhere down the backstretch where all that action you just saw took place.
157 laps complete. Caution flag number 6 of this Busch Grand National 200-lapper. There's Joe Nemechek's car. We'll be back to Martinsville after this. Getting set for the restart. It'll be at lap 155. Kenny Wallace looking for his first Busch Grand National win of the season. Tommy Ellis 4 laps down on the outside. Jeff Burton in 2nd. Steve Grissom in 3rd. Wallace again shoots away. And Burton will get in there in 2nd spot. Here comes Ellis once again. Correction, it is lap 160. 160 complete.
See Ellis moved by Kenny Wallace with that backstretch. I'm sure that Wallace's crew radioed him and told him that, hey, don't fight with him, don't contest him. He's 3 laps, 4 laps down, so don't worry about it. Let it go.
Here's our Quaker State 150-lap summary brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. One Tough Motor Oil. 3 lead changes. Chuck Bound, Tommy Ellis, and Kenny Wallace, the leaders. 3 lead changes, 5 cautions, 17 laps as of lap 150. Average speed 75 miles an hour. 14 cars running on the lead lap here. 37 laps to go, 38 laps to go rather, for Kenny Wallace, and I think especially Jeff Burton is happy that Tommy Ellis got that lap back because now Burton in the 12 car has a clean run at the leader.
Absolutely, and he has been able to pull right up onto the rear deck. You can see car number 12 there, just inching up ever so closely on the leader Kenny Wallace's rear deck. Steve Grissom right behind Burton in car number 31. So you put a blanket over the top three right now. Tom Peck in the blue car there at the bottom of your screen, number 96 running in fourth. And car number 6, Tommy Houston, has moved up to the top 5 for the first time this afternoon.
Right behind him, Mike McLaughlin, who had to come through the heat races. Winner up at Loudon, New Hampshire. A doubleheader modified at Busch North race on Labor Day weekend. Running in the 6th spot. Pontiac, Buick, and Oldsmobile, the front three, as they round out of turn number 2. Kenny Wallace has gone without a pit stop, so too Jeff Burton. But how about Steve Grissom, who made the early stop and came all the way back?
Well, he has done a very, very commendable job. The Big Mama Meat Snacks Oldsmobile has been dialed in from the word go. He elected to make that pit stop early on. They weren't sure if they could make it on fuel. He was running second when he did it. He's back to 3rd place now, so conceivably he's only given up one position, and he knows absolutely 100% sure he can go the rest of the way. The other 2 guys, even though you heard crew chief Kenny Wallace, Steve Birch say definitively that they could go, there's still got to be a little bit of element of doubt in their minds about it.
Well, if Grissom really keeps the pressure on Jeff Burton, can he make Burton use more fuel and perhaps run out?
Well, at this point in the race, that is a possibility. The one thing that's playing in Wallace and Burton's favor right now, Mike, is the fact that we've had a lot of caution flags, and the cars have been making laps at much slower rates of speed. Therefore, they're not using quite as much fuel, so that has played into their favor, too.
4th and 5th at stake. Tom Peck leading Tommy Houston, and Houston, like Grissom, has come tail end Charlie after the pit stop to be right up there on the leaderboard and challenging. 4th place is the race we're watching now.
The cars very similar in color, except Houston's got the white band across the middle of it. Tommy has won races here at Martinsville. He's probably got as many competitive laps as anybody in this division, with the exception of Jack Ingram. On this racetrack, you can see him dive down underneath the tank going into turn 3. Couldn't quite get the job done there, but I think he will before too awfully long. It looks like his car is working a little bit better as they exit the turn.
Peck from McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania. Ott Brothers Furniture sponsors his Oldsmobile. Houston, of course, in the Rosa Stores Buick. And up front at 2nd spot, Steve Grissom, who has the measure of Jeff Burton, just slid underneath him down the back straightaway and took 2nd place away. Burton's in trouble. Tires.
Yeah, he's coming in for an unscheduled stop.
Right front tire for Jeff Burton, and that will take the September race winner here out of contention for the victory. Leader Kenny Wallace in the backstretch. As they finish on the right front, Burton will go a lap down.
Too bad he has an extremely strong run going, and he definitely does. In fact, leader Kenny Wallace is putting a lap down there. So he goes back out onto the track 1 lap down, and for all purposes out of contention here today.
That'll move Grissom up to 2nd. And 3rd, now 3rd, same battle, but now for 3rd place, Tom Peck and Tommy Houston.
See Houston to drop back a little bit there. He may be trying to show Tom Peck that, hey, I can back off 5 or 6 car lengths and catch you at will. You know, you're holding me up, letting me go. But 3rd place and 4th place first difference is significant. Peck's going to make him earn that position.
Back at 5th now, Mike McLaughlin, and 6th, hounding McLaughlin, is Jack Ingram.
It's interesting to watch the line that car number 6 Tommy Houston uses. He runs a little bit higher on the racetrack and runs just as quickly as the guys do down on the bottom. So that's to his advantage right now, because Tom Peck certainly is not going to open the door down in that bottom turn lane. He's going to make Houston pass him on the outside if he can.
And Jeff Burton goes now behind the wall in the Armor Meats Buick. So Burton out of the race, joining a long list as we watch the battle for 3rd. Almost gets up and under him, midpoint in the front straightaway. Tom Peck hustles it right down to the bottom, entering turn 1.
The Houston car is hooked up much better coming off the turns. In fact, sometimes he has to back off the throttle a little bit to enable to keep from running into the rear end of Peck's car. So Tommy's going to try to pass it cleanly if at all possible.
3rd and 4th place, Peck and Houston. Tom Peck's season has only one top 5 finish in it, so this would certainly be a great effort for him this year. Out of the race, September race winner Jeff Burton. Here's Ralph.
Jeff, a great race for you to this point. What went wrong?
I don't know. We really don't. The Armor Meats Food Line Buick was really running. I was just getting toward the end, getting ready to make a charge on Kenny. And something seemed to happen to the motor. It just I don't really know what happened, but the car wouldn't turn, and it pumped all the water out of it. It's really strange. I can't explain it. I don't know what happened.
What it did do was bring his day to an end, Mike.
Tough break for Jeff Burton. He's really looking forward to next season and has a promising future in this business. He's really shown some great stuff. Up front, Kenny Wallace has caught back up to Tommy Ellis. Ellis is 3 laps, plus all the way around the racetrack down to the race leader. And as they catch back up to him, Grissom comes into the picture. Steve Grissom, now the second-place car, with the pit stop and subsequent retirement of Jeff Burton. Third place still in doubt. Fifth as well.
You know, Mike, I think at this point in the race that if Ellis, of course, he's going to be getting official flags there, but I think that he will move out of the way and let Wallace go by. There's only about 20, 25 laps to go left in the race, so I don't think that he'll hold him up until Kenny starts putting some pressure on him. I think Tommy will let him go.
2 good battles on the racetrack. This one for 3rd and the one right behind it for 5th. Tom Peck leading Tommy Houston, and right behind them, Mike McLaughlin battling Jack Ingram. It'll be 25 laps to go this time by here at the Martinsville Speedway. We'll pause now for this regional break. Laps to go in the Winston Classic. SportChannel America returns. Wallace continues to lead. The laps dwindle down. 17 are left. And so dwindling down is the gas supply in Kenny Wallace's car. He has not made a pit stop. How about it, Ralph Sheen?
Well, Mike, we heard Steve Bird say they could go all the way. Actually, they needed 25 laps of caution to be so sure that they had enough fuel in the car. It's only been 18. They're keeping their fingers crossed to be a few more. Crash
in the back straightaway, as looked like Joe Nemechek perhaps colliding with the car that is in the wall, and we race back to the flag. Caution is out. Ellis gets one of his laps back. Grissom almost got right up there to leader Kenny Wallace. It was a 2-car incident. Bobby Moon is the car in the fence.
Yeah, as they race back to the flag there, you can see the action. Steve Grissom really put a charge on it. As they went down the backstretch, saw the car back there. Kenny Wallace backed out of the throttle a little bit early. Grissom saw his chance, tried to blow on by him, and then tried to muscle his way back coming off turn 4. Almost lost the car, but the running order stays the same. And one thing that does do, it moves Tommy Ellis out of the picture now.
So that'll get Ellis back around. Well, although on the restart, he'll come right back up along with those other lap cars. We'll see where they spot him when we get to the restart. 15 laps to go here at the Martinsville Speedway. Kenny Wallace leading Steve Grissom. We'll be back for the finish. Virginia, 187 laps complete, 13 to go. We're under caution. This one coming out the 7th of the afternoon when Bobby Moon got tagged into the wall, and I'm not certain of the car that was involved with him as we watch that 3rd place battle going on between Tommy Houston and Tom Peck. There is Moon's car, and that will take Bobby Moon, I believe, out of the top 20 and the point-paying positions for 1990. So that's a hard way to end it.
Yeah, he and Ward Burton were involved in a real close battle for 20th position in the points, but Ward in car number 5 was showing some smoke earlier. And
there's L.D. Ochter getting a little help around from Dave Resendiz. Could he be out of fuel? Elvin Rector and the crew, yeah, they've got the fuel can and the weight jacking wrench. And there's the man with the ether at the carburetor right up at the air inlet at the base of the windshield. So he is out of gas.
Yep.
Kenny Wallace has got to be a little nervous, and so too Steve Bird right now, seeing that. Well, how about it, Ralph?
Well, Mike, we've got Brian Frazier here with us as the crew chief for Steve. Can he get around Kenny Wallace, and how's he going to do it?
I don't know. It's going to be real tough because Kenny's right on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's been our group, and we've run the best on. And our tires are pretty well shot, so it's going to be tough to get around him on the outside. It's going to be basically, if Kenny slips, we might get a chance, but it's going to be hard to say. I know Steve's going to give it everything he's got. He'll try on the outside, but I don't know if he can make it or not, but he'll definitely give it a shot.
Now, Grissom stopped for fuel in number 31. He can go the distance. This caution flag works to Kenny Wallace's advantage. This is the 21st lap of caution in this race. As you heard Ralph report, they estimated they needed 25 to go the distance. They will get this 22nd lap of caution, and then we'll go racing. So it'll be nail-biting time down in the Kenny Wallace pit. Ralph?
Well, we're with Steve Bird now, crew chief for Kenny Wallace. Steve, is he going to be able to hold him on?
Well, we're going to try. You know, there's no doubt about it. We're going to have about 11 laps left. Both guys are running great, Steve's and everything, and we're just going to try the best we can. That's all we can do.
You were looking for 25 laps of caution to guarantee your fuel mileage, and you're coming awful close. Do you think he's going to have enough?
Yeah, we think we're all right.
We'll just have to wait and see, Mike.
Oh, and Ralph, on the outside lane, here comes Tommy Ellis, 4 laps down. Elton Sawyer right with him. Sawyer is at least a lap back. So that's something the leaders will again have to contend with. 23 laps of caution is the total. It'll be a very fine line. I guess it's going to depend on the angle of the fuel cell in the car, whether they can get all the gas to the pickup or not.
Absolutely. It's got to be a little heartening for Steve Burton because Steve Grissom is the guy that he turned the riches on all year long until this race. And now he's got his current driver, Kenny Wallace, leading, and the guy that he just left, Steve Grissom, running in second place.
Wallace the leader. Grissom is second. Tommy Houston is third. Fourth is Tom Peck. Fifth is Mike McLaughlin. And sixth, Jack Ingram. 9 laps to go. Wallace and Grissom will clear Tommy Ellis.
Ellis did the lead right there. He just pulled up on the outside, let the 2 leaders get on by him so he wouldn't have to play after his last 10 laps.
He separates the 2 leaders from Tommy Houston, the third place car. Peck is fourth, McLaughlin fifth. Wiggle of the wheel from Wallace there.
One thing that this caution period did do, you heard Steve Grissom's crew chief, you see him move up and tap Wallace a little bit. It did enable Grissom to cool his tires a little bit. He used up a lot of his tires coming back up through the back, whereas Wallace had simply run up front, didn't have to maneuver through much traffic. So this did enable Grissom's tires to cool a little bit.
They're all the tires with which they started this race. 7 laps to go. For Wallace, it would be his first victory of the year. For Grissom, win number 4. And a shot to move up to third in the point standings. For Tommy Houston. Houston comes in here owning a pocket full of victories, 4. 6 laps.
For Tommy Houston in third place, it's got to be a better day than what he's had in the last month. He'd only run about 25 laps of competition in the last 2 months. Had been the first car out of the last 2 races, so he's going to be glad to see the checkered flag.
Tom Peck looking to pick up his second top 5 finish of the season. And Mike McLaughlin, the terror of the New Hampshire Speedway, currently posted in the 5th spot. Jack Ingram is 6th.
5 laps to go.
Bobby Labonte is 7th. Mike Wallace, good day for Mike. He is 8th. Make that 7th now as he passes Bobby Labonte. Bobby Hamilton, John Linville are also on the lead lap. 11 cars. 4 laps to go.
You can see both drivers working the steering wheel as they come off turn 4. Both of their tires pretty well shot right now at this stage in the race. It's just going to be Wallace is trying to stay down low on the curb lane, trying very, very hard not to make a mistake to let Grissom get the nose of that 39.
Grissom is there, and one burp in the carburetor of that Cox wood-preserving car would put Grissom to the front, and he turns Wallace. Kenny Wallace, though, as we said, may have had a burp, and Grissom may or may not have run into it. Wallace is trying to get restarted, and he is coasting. He may be out of gas. Kenny Wallace idles across the start-finish line. 2 laps to go. Grissom thunders by. Ellis picks up a lap. Houston is there. Tommy Houston is knocking on the door of Steve Grissom.
Well, that's all Tommy Houston needed was a little bit of opening there. He's really putting pressure on Steve Grissom. Come out of nowhere to take this race.
And again, I don't feel Grissom hit Wallace. Kenny just ran out of gas.
Yeah, he's out of gas. The car stalled under pressure. That's definitely what happened.
White flag. Last chance for Tommy Houston to put another notch in his victory belt. Steve Grissom, though, has the lead. Down the back straightaway for the final time. Tom Peck is there in third. Mike McLaughlin in fourth. And here comes Grissom. Caution, they race to the checkered flag. Steve Grissom will win it. And Grissom, who is sponsor hunting for 1991, ends his season in impressive fashion.
Won the last 2 races on the circuit, had 4 victories overall. I don't think he'll have too much trouble finding a sponsor for next year.
What happened to Kenny Wallace? Let's find out from his pit.
We're running over here to catch Kenny right now. Kenny, can you tell me what happened to you, buddy?
Run out of gas.
That was it? No contact with Grissom at all?
No, huh? Run out of gas.
A tough break for Kenny Wallace. Just ran out of gas.
Well, but for a cupful went the first victory of the season for Kenny Wallace. A tough way to finish, but he's had a good season and can look forward with high hopes to 1991. Kenny Wallace One reason Ellis was trying to run so hard was to take away that 5th place point standing. They came in here only 3 points apart between Wallace and Ellis. We'll see how many laps they credit Kenny with. Their finishing position will decide that spot.
Last race of the season for Kenny Wallace. He had to race one, only 2 laps to go. It's going to be a long, long winter as he thinks about that.
We'll be back and go to Victory Lane and have the NASCAR Modifieds when we return to the Martinsville Speedway. Stay with us. Sports check at the Martinsville Speedway. Steve Grissom is being honored as the winner and unofficially as the 3rd place point man in the Busch Series this season. Tommy Houston, Tom Peck, Mike McLaughlin, and Jack Ingram in his final regular full season of Busch Grand National Racing winds up with a 5th place finish on the day. Well, we saw just about all of it. Here's Ralph Shaheen in Victory Lane.
Steve, an unbelievable finish to this race. As we watch it on the TV, tell us what happened as you came out of that last corner.
Well, I tell you, Kenny and them's car, it worked super, today. And I just hope that he was out of gas because it didn't really seem like he went. And I'd already made my mind up down the back straightaway to try to work my way under him. And like I said, I just hope he run out of gas because I got into gas and got into him. And then, I was trying not to go on and take it around, but yet he wouldn't go on. So I just hope he was out of gas. And I'm definitely not going to turn anybody around to win a race.
Did you think you had the tires to get around him, or were you just going to have to wait for a possibility like that?
Well, we talked about that on that last caution that everybody Kenny had not pitted for gas, and Blue Bell, the auditor, run out of gas on that last caution there. So, we was ready to expect it, but I tell you, it happened right there coming up off the corner, and, I was in the gas and trying to get under him, and it just took him on around.
Well, for somebody who's still in need of a sponsor, this has got to be a big boost for you going towards 91.
Well, it is. I just can't say enough for these boys that worked on this car. Bryant, Lee, Candy, Charlie. This car worked super all day today. And we made the decision to come in for gas there before the race ever started. And, these guys were behind us, and we just drove as hard as we could.
Well, Kenny did tell us that he was out of gas, so you can feel a little relieved about that.
Well, I tell you what, Kenny's a super good friend of mine, and I tell you, I wouldn't turn anybody around, coming down like that to the end of the race. And,
Steve Grissom picks up the victory and 3rd in the Busch Grand National standings behind champion Chuck Bound and runner-up Jimmy Hensley. Final race summary brought to you by Quaker State, One Tough Motor Oil. Steve Grissom the winner. 4 lead changes in this race, 7 caution flags for 23 laps. Steve Bird hit it right on the numbers. They said they needed 25 laps of caution to go the distance. They came up too short on the caution laps, too short in the race. Average speed, 73.9 miles per hour for Grissom. It is his 4th victory of 1990. A look at the finish. Grissom, Houston, Peck, Mike McLaughlin from upstate New York. Good run today, so too for Jack Ingram. Second 5, Wallace, Labonte, Hamilton, Ottinger, and Linville. We'll be back to Martinsville Speedway. Stay with us. Up full of gasoline. Kenny Wallace's car would be parked where you see Steve Grissom's. Grissom the winner, and behind champion Chuck Bound and runner-up Jimmy Hensley, 3rd place in the points. Here's how it happened as they came through turns 3 and 4.
Well, you see Grissom moving up very, very fast on Kenny Wallace. Wallace at that time was out of gas, just could not accelerate. Grissom had no place to go. He had already accelerated. Kenny's car didn't go. You don't expect that. You can't get off the gas and onto the brakes quick enough to avoid something like that. Both drivers very gracious, and particularly Wallace, in saying what happened, and you saw the relief on Steve Grissom's face. Let's go down to Ralph Shaheen now.
Well, Glenn, somebody who's had this problem here before, just like Kenny Wallace, was Tommy Houston, and it paid off for you this time. At least you got a great finish out of it.
Yeah, we did. We'll take second. When I think Kenny ran out up there and Steve got against him, and I could have got into Steve over there pretty hard, but I said, shoot, I just better not do that. We needed a good, strong run here today, 2nd place. Rosie's score team has been up and down this season, and we'd won 4 of the races, and but we'll take this 2nd.
How close were you to running out of gas?
We stopped on about 40 laps into the show, and I got fuel. I've been in the same boat that Kenny has, 88 up here the fall race. I was leading the race, led the whole thing for 2 laps to go, and ran out back here off of 2, and Harry Gant went on and won the race. And I was expecting something like that to happen. I just didn't know, you know, I knew Steve was going to be awful tough to beat, but everything worked out pretty good for him.
Well, experience paid off for Tommy Houston this time. Maybe next time it'll pay off for Kenny Wallace.
There's a gentleman and a great race driver, Tommy Houston.
Absolutely, one of the top-notch competitors in any type of sports. You know, it's interesting to look at first and second, Steve Grissom, Tommy Houston. They're the only two guys that were running up front that elected to stop and take on that fuel. They wound up in the top 2 positions in the race.
Let me give you a look at the Busch Grand National points here as we have them unofficially. Bound, of course, is the champion, clinched it coming in here. So did Jimmy Hensley, the second-place spot. Grissom came in 4th and will finish the season 3rd in points. Bobby Labonte came in 3rd. He'll be 4th. Tom Peck came here 7th. He'll be the 5th-place point man. And get this, unofficially, Tommy Ellis and Kenny Wallace are tied for 6th. But because Ellis won a race and Wallace did not, including today's, Ellis will probably get that 6th-place point money, and Wallace will end up with 7. Fellow who had a great day today and made that big jump to 5th in the standings and caps off a fine season. His second top 5 finish this year is standing with Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Tom Peck is with us. He's just walking off the scales. They push his car off. And, Tom, a great finish for you. It's moving you up in the points some.
Yeah, I think we ended up 5th for the year, and we're just tickled to death for our second year. You know, we're real pleased. We didn't win any races, but, you know, we were right there most of the year, and we're pleased, and we'll be back stronger next year.
Well, we're happy to confirm for you that you did take that 5th-place finish in the points. And the gas was such a big story here this afternoon. How was your car?
Well, I had a jack tank motor and a jack tank carburetor. We got excellent mileage. We went all day with that gas, so they just filled it up. I didn't see what it took, but we were one of the few that was able to make it all day. It was the last race, and we thought it was worth a gamble. So we gambled, and it worked out well for us.
Well, it paid off for Tom Peck. He'll take home 5th in the 1990 points.
Great job here today by the McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania driver. Another fellow who had a really strong run is the fellow who won a doubleheader up in New Hampshire in the modified and Busch Grand National ranks and has had some good runs up there. He comes out of the NASCAR modified division, which you're going to see here in just a couple of minutes on Sports Channel America as they wind down their season. Mike McLaughlin, the former national champion from Waterloo, New York, brought the Harry and Mike Grieche automobile home, the Coors Extra Gold car home on the top 5 on the leaderboard. Ralph has Mike McLaughlin.
Well, Magic Shoes is with us, and another good finish in a Busch race for you. You got to be happy with this one.
Yeah, we are. The crew did a good job being here for the first time. We didn't really know what setup to use and kind of chased it all weekend. Today we were a little loose. They pitted, got the car pretty close. I'm real happy. Of course, Extra Gold crew did a good job.
Well, you got to go do a little modified racing today maybe, and you're going to possibly come back and run Busch Grand National all next year.
I'd like to run the modified. We're not running here today. I timed Lenny Bowler's car for Doug Hevron, and we're just concentrating on the Busch Grand National. We'd like to be here full-time next year, but right now we're waiting on sponsorship.
Well, no ride in the modified today is good news for those guys, but the fact that Mike McLaughlin's coming back full-time next year in the modifieds, bad news for the rest of the competition there.
Mike McLaughlin with a good finish here today. He winds up 4th behind Grissom, Houston, and Peck. Jack Ingram, the Ironman, 5th-place finish here today. One of his best runs of this season for Jack Ingram. There's a look at the rest of the top 10. Mike Wallace had a good race today. Finished in 6th. Bobby Labonte, Hamilton, Ottinger, the former national champ, and John Linville winds up the top 10. There's Bobby Dotter. Tommy Ellis, although fighting 3 laps down, wound up 12th. 1 position ahead of Kenny Wallace, and that was the 3-point differential going in. Billy Standridge, Elton Sawyer finishes up midway in the field. Joe Nemechek, the leading rookie and likely rookie of the year. Sprague, Spencer, after that problem, finished the race. Resendiz and Bobby Moon, who ends up perhaps just out of the top 20. We'll see where Ward Burton spots, and he was not in that list, so Moon may have just barely held on to that 20th spot and got some point fund money. Well, that little girl's going to get a change, and so are we. We're going to change over to the NASCAR Winston Modified Tour action. That'll be coming your way here in just a few minutes from the Martinsville Speedway as those cars are gridded up on the back straightaway and racing's wildest triple header. The Winston Classic will conclude. So lots more racing to go here on Sports Channel America with the NASCAR Winston Modified Tour coming up here in just a couple of minutes. So please stay right with us. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the beautiful Martinsville Speedway, where NASCAR's most powerful and perhaps most electrifying division, the Modifieds, are about to take center stage in the final event of the 1990 championship chase. Once again, I'm Mike Joy with Glenn Jarrett, and this has been a great title bout between Jamie Tomeno and defending champ Mike Stefanik.
Well, absolutely, Mike. It's been close all year long, and Tomeno has used his consistency all year long. He's only won one race, but he's been there at the finish every time.
Mike Stefanik has 5 victories, a pile of top 5 finishes, but he has crashed or failed to finish on numerous occasions, including the opener here in Martinsville on the very first lap. Defending his title season, he stuffed the car into the fence. So it's been up and down, and it's been win or break and go for broke every race of this last month for Stefanik.
Well, you can win races without consistency. You cannot win titles without consistency, and that's what has plagued Mike this year.
And Tomeno has been consistent with his finishes. That's why he holds the point lead and a strong chance to win the championship today. Let's go down trackside to Ralph Shaheen.
Jamie Tomeno, one thing that has really put you in this position is consistency. And you were a little bit nervous coming into this race. Are those nerves coming down? Are you relaxing and falling back in your consistency?
Well, once the race gets going, I'm sure I will be. But sitting here right this minute waiting for the green flag to jump, I'm a little jumpy right this minute.
Well, Mike Stefanik is really the one who's got to do all the work. As long as your consistency holds, you'll be okay. He says he's got some trick up his sleeve as far as his strategy, but he won't tell anybody what it is. What are you going to do as far as your strategy? You have to make the mandatory pit stop.
Well, he's starting in front of us, and he's an awful good runner. So I plan on keeping him right in my eyesight, and if he tries some tricks, I'll pull the same tricks. I'll go right with him.
Well, if there's anything that's going to help Jamie Tomeno with his relaxation, is the fact he's got 3 pieces of chewing gum strapped to the inside of the car to help calm those nerves. Mike?
Only 3. I don't know, Glenn. I think this will be a 4 or 5 stick race at least.
This is a double-pack race here with that kind of money on the line for the title that he's chasing today.
There's a look at the NASCAR Modifieds. The bodies reminiscent of Chevy Cavaliers and Pontiac Sunbirds and the like, with those big, wide steamroller tires hanging out at all 4 corners, and that 600 horsepower that sits underneath the hood make these the most potent racing machines of NASCAR and among the most exciting to watch. And the man who's provided a lot of that excitement the last 2 years, defending champion and point runner-up, Mike Stefanik. Ralph?
Mike Stefanik, if you had to do a lot of work, which is what you got to do, the best place to start from is the front row. That's right, where you're starting from. Does that help you out any?
Well, definitely it does, Ralph. We want to run hard. We'll probably pit early, put some tires on this car, go for good track position, and try to win this race and see if we can make something out of this points chase. We've come a long way, and we got a long shot, but we're going to take it.
Well, it's kind of a do-or-die situation for you. You're going to just try and run away and hide from these guys, or are you going to tell us a little bit about your secret strategy?
Well, no, we got a few tricks up our sleeve. We want to try that mandatory stop, but basically, I don't care if we win by just a foot. That's all I ask out of it. I don't need to walk away from anybody. A win would be nice, and let Jamie control his own destiny.
Well, that stop has got to come between laps 75 and 175 in that range. Do you think the majority of the cars will come in early or wait until the farther end?
I would imagine it all come in the first chance they get. Track position is very important, and I would say that most of the cars that are serious about winning this race would have to come in as soon as they could once the mandatory stop, has gone past lap 75.
Well, Mike, those are the 2 guys battling for the championship. Now it's up to the 2 drivers and their machines.
Sly Zaban is Stefanik's crew chief. Here's what got them to this point. Tomeno trying to be the first driver since Bud Olson in 1958 won the championship out of New Jersey. Stefanik, native of Wilbraham, Mass., now lives in Rhode Island. Satch Worley from right here in Virginia has had a great season in the Bob Garbarino car from Connecticut. Rick Fuller from Auburn, Mass., right next to Worcester. And Tony Hirschman from Northampton, Pennsylvania. Hirschman, who won the final race of the season last year, trying to win the title, but could not. Stefanik piled up enough points to win it. Hirschman sits on the pole. Ralph is with him.
Tony, one of the things they've installed here for this final race is the open tire rule. How much is that going to come into play this afternoon?
Well, a lot of guys went with a softer tire than what we usually go here. It's going to be, just see how it goes, see who wins the drag race into the first turn and see who got to run the pace, either Mike or me. We're going to have to see what them tires look like, but I imagine everybody's going to pit early, probably get them off and go to the harder stuff to go run to the end.
So you yourself then will start with the softer tires and possibly go from there?
Yeah, we got the soft stuff on now, and we'll see how the car works with the soft stuff, and when we make our pit stop, we'll just have to decide if we're going to stay with the soft or go to the harder.
The open tire rule makes it feasible that you could pit with just a few laps to go, maybe around 50, put on some soft, sticky tires, and really make a charge back in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, you could probably do that, but Martinsville's a tough place to get around. Once the guys get all settled in, it's a tough place to pass. Once you get the guys running on the bottom, it takes an awful lot to get around somebody on the top side.
That's Tony Hirschman. He is the pole sitter for this event. trying to do what he did last year, win the final event of the season. Last year he could have taken the crown. Ed Stefanik and Reggie Ruggiero have trouble. Today, the best he can do is advance from 5th in the points to 3rd. Ruggiero is here, by the way, though not in the familiar Fiore 44. Mario Fiore, for 15 years, an outstanding car owner in this division, both locally and on the national tour, is at home today, parked his car after the Pocono race in a dispute with NASCAR officials over the consistency of officiating, and has the cars for sale, has the shop for rent, and it's no telling what he may do next year. Don't know if he'll return to NASCAR racing. So Ruggiero is here as teammate to Mike Iwanitzko. They're in the TJ's Toyota cars out of New York State, an unfamiliar car for the man who's seen a lot of success here. And he has taken over the mantle of Mr. Excitement that Jimmy Spencer once wore in this division. If there's a way to get to the front and a way to slap on tires and bring it back up to the head of the pack, then Reggie Ruggiero is the guy to do it. Ralph's with him.
Well, Reggie Ruggiero, if there's anybody that can throw a wrench into this thing and find a way to victory circle, it's you. What is your strategy going to be here today? We got the open tire roll. We got this mandatory pit stop. A lot of different things that you got to think about.
Well, we're just going to see how the car runs right at the beginning. We opted to go with the harder compound tires for time trials, and we're starting a little bit further back than we should. We're starting 17th. But if ballpark plays to our ball game, we'll probably just make a stop and go after the mandatory pit stop, and track position here is A+ to anybody who can have it, so we're looking for track position after 75 laps and see if we can go and win the race.
A lot of people thought that when you stepped out of that number 44 that maybe the Reg would fall back a little bit, but that's not the case. You feel pretty confident in this car, don't you?
Oh yes, this car runs really super fast, and our pit crew today is a homemade team. We made it up this morning, so I'm not looking forward to changing tires. We'll be there at the end.
Ruggiero alongside Mike Iwanitzko, and there he is, 6th in the points. Doug Hebron, whose car was qualified by Mike McLaughlin. George Kent in the Southern New England 8 crate, the Art Berry car. Jeff Fuller, who won last week's race up at Thompson, Connecticut. And Tom Baldwin off Long Island, always a tough contender. Fill out the top 10 in the point standing. They fired the engines, and the Mod Squad is on the track. We'll be back to end the short track racing season in the East Coast right after we pause for this regional break. The Winston Classic continues on Sports Channel America after these warming up. Don't forget later tonight, stay tuned for high-speed excitement when Speedway Sunday hits the air. You'll be trackside for a total recap of the week in motorsports. Get the latest on worldwide auto racing action and see Busch Grand National highlights from Loudon, New Hampshire. Speedway Sunday is tonight at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, live on Sports Channel America. Wide tires, narrow bodies, 600 horsepower. It all builds to electrifying excitement. We're going to see 200 laps of it. And what each driver has told us in pre-race, Glenn, passing is very difficult in this division.
Extremely difficult. I think one of the things that the fans out there in TV land should pay attention to are how quickly these cars accelerate once they get into 600 horsepower.
We'll be back as they roll them off for the start, right after these messages. Martinsville, Virginia, the field is set to roll for 200 laps of NASCAR Winston Modified Tour action. Tony Hirschman on the pole, Mike Stefanik, slim title hopes alive of defending his national championship. Jamie Tomeno trying to win the title here. And as they qualified for this race, let's take a look at the way 32 of the best in the division will line up today. On the pole, Tony Hirschman from Pennsylvania, who won the last race of last year and has 3 victories this season. Alongside defending national champ Mike Stefanik with 5 victories. In row 2, the Fuller brothers. Jeff, last week's winner at Thompson, and Rick Fuller, 4th in the points with 1 win. In row 3, the point leader Jamie Tomeno with 1 victory, and George Brunholzl from Long Island. In the 4th row, 3rd in the points, Virginia's own Satch Worley, with 10th place point man Tom Baldwin from New York. Row 5, the Polish paver Karl Pastriak and Tony Ferranti from New York. In row 6, North Carolina's Jay Hedgecock with Supermod ace Doug Hebron. In row 7, Steve Park from Long Island and former Riverside champ Bruce D'Alessandro. In row 8, Tom Bowles from Vernon, Connecticut, and Kenny Troyer from upstate New York. In row 9, 3-time winner Reggie Ruggiero in a new car. He's teamed with Mike Iwanitzko, who has 1 feature win. In row number 10, Tim Ayer and George Kent completed the time trial qualifiers. Eddie DeHaan and Richie Gallup won the qualifying heat races. besting Frank Fleming and Larry Moore, respectively, then Gary Myers and Bob Park from Long Island, Philip Smith and John Preston out of Pennsylvania, North Carolina drivers Tim Dwiggins and Billy Middleton, and the provisional starters S.J. Avanchin from Connecticut and Danny Watts from New York State. That's the 32-car field.
This is going to be a very interesting race, Mike. We're looking for a lot of excitement out of this division. We've got a lot of things going in this point battle, but first and foremost things is the sheer raw power of these race cars. As I started to say earlier, over 600 horsepower that these cars produce. Very, very wide tires, wide track, low to the ground. These cars simply fly around this racetrack.
This gets my pulse rate up. I kind of grew up in the modified division up in New England just to see these cars run. Now, as they come down the front stretch, watch on the right side of your screen. There's the end of pit wall. That's where the Busch Grand National cars back out. Right now is where the modifieds back out of the throttle just before they hit the concrete. They go into the corner a full 4 or 5 car lengths deeper than the Busch cars do.
These cars are running about 125 to 130 miles per hour at the end of the straightaways here, and you're going into basically a flat, tight turn on this racetrack. That's an extreme amount of speed.
Hirschman and Stefanik at the front. The Fuller brothers in row 2. Tomeno and Brunholzl in row 3. 32 cars deep is the field. 200 laps to distance. Mandatory pit stop for gas. And you must jack up the car. Whether or not you change tires is at the crew chief's option. Everybody on their feet. Final green flag of the season. Paul Coakley waves it. And it's Stefanik, half a car length down to 1. Stefanik swirly, but he's got Hirschman. Hirschman comes up from the bottom of the racetrack. Stefanik eases off the corner with a lot of throttle in the lead. Can he get inside? Yes. Hirschman will give him the lane. It's Stefanik, Hirschman, Rick Fuller on the outside. Here comes Fuller blasting down the straightaway. He'll get Hirschman as they go to turn 1. They touch and break loose. Brunholzl right there in the yellow car. Jeff Fuller in red, number 8. And it's Mike Stefanik where he has to be out in front.
Absolutely. If Mike's going to win the championship today, he's got to win the race.
Mike Stefanik in number 15 from West Greenwich, Rhode Island. The car owned. Trouble! Jeff Fuller's in the wall. And he had help. He comes sliding back out. And everybody misses him. The Shiva Racing entry for Jeff Fuller, qualified 3rd, had a good run going. And he got tagged, I believe, by number 2, Jamie Tomeno, the point leader. Well, Fuller is okay. Took a hard knock there, bent the left front up to the frame. That's how these cars are designed. The suspension pieces are the weak link. Let's see if we can pick out what happened here.
Well, we got another look at it as they come off the second turn. Yes, indeed, he got tagged by somebody on the outside there. Watch how hard this car hits the wall. Now, this is the most amazing thing. The car turned and went right back across the racetrack in front of the whole field. These guys running 125, 30 miles an hour. They were all able to get stopped, miss Jeff, fortunately for everybody involved back there. Jeff is okay. He's moved around in the car. He's getting out of the car now, but you see him walking around there. I'm sure he's very, very disappointed, but he's also very, very lucky that he didn't get clobbered as he went back up across the racetrack.
Getting an early start on going for just 1 today. Tough break for Fuller, who won last week at Thompson, Connecticut. Tomeno appeared to brush the wall on the outside coming out of 2, and that's likely what sent him down into Jeff Fuller. Fuller smacking the wall, the suspension and steering rack. These cars use power racket pinion steering braking. He had no steering control coming off the wall. But you saw the front wheels splayed as he went up and smacked it on the outside.
You know, that's a very sickening feeling for a driver because you're down low on the racetrack, away from everybody else, and a car up high in the outside groove gets into the wall, comes off, and then nails you, and you're sitting there with, I mean, there's absolutely nothing you can do.
So Fuller gets that long walk back, talking to a radio reporter there, as we're under the first caution of the day. It shows you, too, how blindingly fast these cars are. When the camera follows them down the straightaway, you know they're going fast, but until something calamitous like that happens, it's hard to really appreciate the speed that these cars generate.
Absolutely, and unfortunately for Jeff Fuller, the one thing that has done, it now ensures that Jamie Tomeno will finish in at least a tie. If he should fall out of the race right now, and Mike Stefanik go on and win the race, they would wind up in a tie for the point championship.
Let's have another look at the white car toward the outside is going to be Tomeno. And about mid-pack there. See, looks like he might have just bounced off that wall. Might have brushed it or come real close. Fuller's car just rockets across. Look at the direction of the front wheels splayed out like that. Goes right underneath the 3-car of Doug Hebron and smacks the fence. Boy, everybody did a great job of getting past. One car that has made a pit stop, 2 pit stops, has gone back out on the racetrack without the wheels being attached, spinning there in the grass. And there is the errant wheel, minus the race car. Danny Watts, one of the provisional starters, is the car. And Jeff Fuller, who is the first car out of this race, is with Ralph Shaheen.
Jeff, what happened to you out there?
Well, coming out of the corner, I'm not really sure what it was. It was a white car, and I come out in the low groove, and I think he got a little bit loose there and come down across the track a little bit, hooked the right front, and it went up into the wall. The motor came back, the throttle stuck. Got into the second wall, the throttle was still stuck wide open. I finally got the motor killed and, you know, brought it to a stop, but it was such a shame, you know, so early in the race, 200 laps, something like that to happen.
You took an awfully hard hit. How you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. The car's really hurt. You know, it's just one of them deals.
There are 7 Fuller brothers. Talk about the Bouchards and the Bodines and the Wallaces. There are 7, I believe 7 kids in that family, 6 brothers. 3 of them in racing right now. Here's another look.
Yeah, this was after Jeff had hit the wall. And now, as he said, the throttle hung wide open. You see how fast the car goes back up. Just cleared that car, and it crashes into the wall again. So that pretty well wiped that race car out. That's a real shame because, in my opinion, Jeff Fuller is one of the most exciting drivers to watch in this circuit.
Very talented and very aggressive. Leads his brother Ricky in 3rd spot right now. Mike Stefanik, the leader. Tony Hirschman is 2nd. Rick Fuller is 3rd. They are now dragging the car of Danny Watts from turn 4. He made 2 pit stops under the caution. This one for tires. And in defense of the modified teams, most of these cars use what's called a wide 5 bolt pattern. They don't have the wheels that just slip right up onto the hub, and then everything comes right to hand. You've really got to go around a long way to get the bolts tightened up on one of these, and the left rear on Danny Watts' car did not get tightened. The wheel came off, and he's being towed away. We will return to the Winston Classic at Martinsville Speedway right after we pause for this regional break. The Winston Classic on SportsChannel America will continue after these messages. Set to go back to green in perhaps a lap or 2 here at Martinsville Speedway. Mike Stefanik, the defending national champion, 5 times a feature winner, is on the point. Tony Hirschman from Pennsylvania, the pole sitter, is 2nd. Rick Fuller out of Auburn, Massachusetts, 1 feature victory, 4th place point man, running in 3rd. George Brunholzl from Lindenhurst in the Oval Speed Pontiac. Brunholzl in 4th. He in the 5th spot. The best appearing car of the meet, Tom Baldwin. The 2 brothers excavating car number 7. Then Jamie Tomeno, the point leader. Satch Worley in number 4. Now, restarts are a little different in the modified division. They go double file on restarts, harkening back to old short track stock car racing, up until the 50 lap to go mark. Then they'll go single file. So double file restarts erases any advantage you've had. A little bit of a different wrinkle. Hey, we promised you excitement. We're giving you excitement here.
One thing that might be exciting, too, there's a lot of speedy dry that was put down from the fluids of Jeff Fuller's car sprayed on the racetrack. They go down that back stretch in the 3rd turn. There is an extreme amount of oil absorbent in the outside groove, so might look for something there.
Stefanik bobbles on the shift, and Hirschman gets the jump. Brunholzl coming up to challenge for 2nd. Stefanik did not miss the shift, but when he popped the clutch, the car kicked sideways. Here comes Tomeno, the challenger, right on the back bumper of the champion. Tomeno in number 2, the white car, middle of your screen, right with him, Ricky Fuller. Baldwin on the outside of the black number 7 will take over 5th spot from Rick Fuller. And quickly they sort out single file. Back through the first half of the field, Mike Iwanitsko now drops in line.
I bet Jamie Tomeno's glad to see him get a few laps on the caution now. You know, he said he was a little nervous when the race started. They didn't really run enough laps for that nervousness to go away. Now he's glad that things are kind of stretched out, sorted out. Now you can take a big breath and relax a little bit. And you can relax at 135 miles an hour down the backstretch here.
Well, the man up front is going trouble in 2. 2 cars in fun. Richie Gallup is is down off the inside of the racetrack. The red car, the blue machine back there with him. That's the 88 car of Kenny Troyer. No caution. Everybody gets away. Hirschman retains his lead. Tony Hirschman out of Pennsylvania. Very cold, calculating driver. He's got a reputation for doing well and winning when there are really big races on the line. Tony?
I don't know. The longer the races, the better. I like them. When we had some problems with the cars this year handling, it wasn't as good as it should have been, you know, in some of the races that hurt us. But he said Martinsville, you run in front of a lot of people down here, a lot of Winston Cup and the Busch Grand National cars, and there's a lot of people watching, and everybody tries to do real good here.
Well, Terry Labonte is the Iceman of Winston Cup Racing. This man earns the title in this division.
You know, Mike, it really impresses me is that the speeds and the quickness that these cars have and how smoothly these guys maneuver them around this racetrack. This is basically a flat oval. They're running those tremendous speeds down the straightaways. The cars really break heaven getting into the turns, and they're so smooth with them. It's amazing that amount of power, and they're all not running sideways. My hat's off to these guys.
If you were to superimpose the modifieds running around this track and the Busch Grand National cars, the best Busch Grand National car here would get lapped by a modified inside of 20 laps. Oh,
absolutely. They're so quick, so lightning fast through the corners. In fact, when the camera is on the cars and turns, you can just literally see them jump as they accelerate.
They weigh well under 3,000 pounds, have 600 horsepower, and those big steamrollers on all four corners. Tremendous side-biting corners and tremendous acceleration with that power-to-weight ratio. They run small block V8s, 366 cubic inches, 1 4-barrel carburetor, a lot of intricate work in those engines to put out those kind of horsepower.
The same horsepower rating that the Winston Cup cars used to enjoy before the days of the restrictor plates, 364, 366 cubic inches. But the Winston Cup cars were pulling about 900 more pounds.
This was the first racing division of NASCAR back in its formative years. And the modified races here at Martinsville used to be 500 laps twice a year. Back when Jerry Cook and fellas like Ray Hendrick and Paul Radford were winning them. Hirschman up front. Brunholzl is second. Mike Stefanik is third. And fourth, right side of your screen, is Jamie Tomeno. Only one victory, but a lot of consistent top finishes. And we asked Jamie Tomeno whether the pressure is on the defending champion Mike Stefanik or on himself today, the point leader. Jamie?
Well, I wouldn't trade these shoes right here for nothing, I want to tell you right now. The pressure's on Mike as far as I feel. He's got to win the race, and he's capable of doing that, but he's got to win. I just have to have a little luck and just beat 2 cars, and I'm in these shoes.
This is the 23rd race of the season. Tomeno picking up Memphis first back as the season winds up here, as he faces what could be his first national modified crown. He's in 4th place. There's Stefanik in the red car, number 15, challenging Brunholzl.
Mike got a pretty good bite off the 4th turn that time. Looked like he was going to be able to put a move on Brunholzl, but he just ran out of room at the end of the straightaway there. Tomeno right behind Stefanik. You know, he said at the top of the show he was going to keep him directly in his sights and run right on his rear bumper. He's doing just that.
Stefanik, my first memories of him was as a young kid standing on the top deck at Riverside Speedway in Agawam, Mass, where his dad was the head usher of the reserve seat section. And Mike would go there as a small boy, just barely into grade school, and watch his older brother, Bobby Stefanik, win track championships. And his brother, who passed away several years ago, used to tell Mike, he said, nobody's going to remember how many races you won or what they were. They will remember your championship, something that Mike thought an awful lot about in winning his national title last season. Mike Stefanik underneath George Brunholzl, the battle for second spot. Brunholzl doing a good job of holding Stefanik off. Now, they are running well up the racetrack from the groove worked in by the Busch Grand National cars on the bottom.
Well, I think one of the reasons for that, there was some fluid put down by the Busch cars, and so it's caused the modified guys to have to move up off the curve. And it's a little bit too slick for them right there. We've seen a couple of cars try to get down low. Cars kick sideways with this extreme amount of power that they have. So obviously, the more you turn the steering wheel when you come off the turn, the more apt the car is to break loose. So they're having to run a little bit wider line right now.
They are lapping the 82 car of Danny Watts, which is 4 wheels firmly in place and back out on the racetrack. And also the 18 of Tim Wiggins, local driver, going a lap down.
Mike, this is about as high up on the racetrack as I have ever seen these guys have to run this early in the race. It's going to be interesting to see if the bottom groove will clear a little bit for them later on in the race, or whether they're just going to have to keep moving up higher and higher.
Well, we've seen him here at Martinsville sometime, Glenn, in the middle of the corners with the left wheels on the concrete and the right wheels up in the asphalt, way high on the racetrack. Stefanik got a good jump off it, too, that time. Pulls right to the bumper of Brunholzel's car, but there's traffic ahead in the form of Kenny Troyer. They'll go back single file as they clear the lap car. Stefanik just inches off the bumper of Brunholzel. Brunholzel a little bit wide, and Stefanik has the move and the spot.
That's all it took. George got in the corner just a little hard, and also Jamie Tomato moves right by him to move into the third spot. Once again, he said, I'm going to keep Mike Stefanik right in my vision, and he does that as he moves by car number 28 of Brunholzel to take over third place.
I think Tomato's view of Stefanik today is that Stefanik has a trailer ball on the back bumper, and Tomato has the hitch and the tongue of the trailer hooked right up to him.
It's kind of like the earlier race we saw Kenny Wallace following Tommy Ellis through the field. Jamie Tomato doing the very same thing with Mike Stefanik, but with a lot more at stake there.
Tony Hirschman up front, Mike Stefanik in second, Jamie Tomato in third. Let's go to Ralph Shaheen for this report.
Well, Mike, we checked on what Glenn was mentioning about all the debris on the bottom of the racetrack. According to the crew chiefs, all that debris is rubber from our previous 2 races here this afternoon. They did tell me that everybody will be comfortable running up there as long as they need to.
Earlier today, if you joined us late, the NASCAR late model stock cars ran 100 laps. Gene Patterson, the winner. And the Busch Grand National Division with Steve Grissom in victory lane with Kenny Wallace leading by a car length, ran out of fuel with 3 laps to go. This is the finale of the Winston Classic, this triple header, and of the NASCAR short track season. Tony Hirschman putting it to him, about to put a lap on Steve Avanchin out of East Hartland, Connecticut.
It'll be interesting to see now, Mike, that they're having to move up on some lap traffic. Stefanik seems to be closing the gap a little bit on leader Hirschman there in car number 1. So looks like he might be using this traffic to his advantage. He might be handling just a little bit better than leader Tony Hirschman right now.
Hirschman, Stefanik, and Tomato. Brunholzel now settling down in 4th. Tom Baldwin, though, in 5th. Putting the move to Brunholzel as we watch Mike Stefanik go down the back straightaway. His title hopes dimming with every lap here. But he's had a strong season and a very interesting stretch drive where it was win and go for it or else. Hirschman, the leader. Have a look back at 7th, 8th, and 9th positions. Here, that's Satch Worley in the Mystic River Marina Missile, the number 4 car of Bob Garbarino in 7th. Leading a passel of cars as they come off the corner here. 8th place is the 31 car, Tony Ferrani, out of Franklin Square, New York. And with them, the Len Bowler car. Remember Len Bowler? Built NASCAR National Championship cars for Buck Stevens, Fred DeCero. Old Blue, in its current incarnation, was qualified by Mike McLaughlin, as Worley loses it there. Hangs on. That number 3 car is the Bowler car. Mike McLaughlin, his former driver, qualifying it for Doug Hebron, who's behind the wheel today. Then Mike Iwanitzko in the red number 69, the TJ Toyota machine, is part of that battle. Let's have another look at it. What happened to Worley here as he came off the corner?
Looks like he just accelerated a little quickly there and turned the car sideways again. That he got down in that bottom groove where it's a little bit slicker. That rubber, the asphalt from the previous races, looks like it just broke traction on the car.
Worley, though, is okay, trying to fend off the 31 of Tony Ferrani. And right behind them, Iwanitzko is going to get under Hebron, going down into the corner, taking away the low groove, and moving up into 9th position is Mike Iwanitzko. Good strong battle there for 7th on back. Tony Hirschman, the race leader, Mike Stefanik, and we'll have a look at what's been a good battle. Tom Baldwin in the 7th car out of turn number 2 worked his way past 28 Brunholzel, the yellow machine. He now closes up on Rick Fuller in 77. Baldwin, a Charger, another exciting driver to watch, much in the Jimmy Spencer mold, if you will. Really at home on the tight, tough bull rings, like the Quarter-Mile Riverhead Raceway out on Long Island.
Yeah, Baldwin, you can see him drop the car down about a lane below what everybody else is doing coming off turn 2. They're getting a tremendous bite. So he's finding some success down in that bottom groove as he comes off the turn, which is a little bit unusual.
They'll dispense with the lap car. And that battle will pick up once again. It's a good one, and it's for 4th position. Rick Fuller in 4th. Tom Baldwin in 5th. There's the lap car going past. 88 of Kenny Troyer. And a look at George Kent in the 22, the Art Berry car, moving past Jay Hedgecock. Kent, who just barely timed his way into the field in 20th position, is doing well and moving up. Back up front to Tony Hirschman, the race leader. Hirschman's at it all his own way here. Jay Hedgecock goes to pit road.
Since that last restart, when Hirschman was able to retake the lead, he has just literally driven off and left the rest of the field.
So Hirschman's the leader. Mike Stefanik runs in 2nd. Jamie Tomato, the point leader, is 3rd. And at the 4th spot, Rick Fuller holding off Tom Baldwin. We'll be back to Martinsville Speedway right after these messages. He laps for a harmless single-car spin, but it's brought many of the leaders to pit road. You're watching race leader Tony Hirschman. Doug Hevron is in. George Brunholzl getting pit service. Satch Worley, Jamie Tomato, and Mike Stefanik at the bottom of your screen, all getting pit service and all looking at right-side tires.
Well, they talked about at the top of the show, Mike, about how they wanted to get in at the earliest possible opportunity to change, get those real soft tires off. The cars have to start the race with the tires on which they qualified. They qualified on the soft tires. Pretty well mandated that they were going to have to stop and change those tires. Those soft tires will not run to full 200 laps here.
Sly Zaban and the Mike Stefanik crew do a good job in getting out well before Jamie Tomato. That'll be important in track position. As pit stops continue, here's George Kent in the Art Berry car. Bill Pelly, who helped Bob Bulgari win a championship on the motor side this year, helping out. And the tires over the wall to Berry's finely tuned crew. Jimmy Savage lifting that rear tire up into position. On the party back there on the jack. A little bit of adjustment there at the right front. And there's Rick Fuller, who remained out on the racetrack. He should be the race leader. Tom Baldwin goes to 2nd spot. Ken is away after his stop. 53 laps complete. Time for our Quaker State 50 lap summary. Coming up here in just a second as we watch Rick Fuller. Tony Hirschman alongside. And we'll get a green here perhaps in 1 lap. Quaker State. On Tough Motor Oil brings you this 50-lap race summary. Hirschman was the leader before pitting. 71.5 miles per hour, 1 lead change and 1 caution flag. Tony Hirschman back on pit road. They're going to look at the lefts this time.
He took an extremely long amount of time with the first pit stop. He came out of the back of the field of all the cars that stopped, and now he has to come back in. So that's really hurt him track position-wise. He's dead in the rear end of the field.
Have a bit of company there. Paul Coakley holding the flags. Going to give them 1 to go this time. 54 laps complete. Of the leaders, race leader Hirschman. 2nd place, Mike Stefanik. 3rd place, Jamie Tomato. All took on tires. So did Satch Worley, George Brunholzl, and Doug Hevron. Now, George Kent, after getting right side, is back in for lefts. So he'll go to the tail end of the field when they get the restart next time. Up front goes Rick Fuller. 4th place point man in the Utica Pontiac. 1 victory. Tom Baldwin goes to 2nd place. Baldwin is 10th in the points. Hasn't won this season.
Mike, the whole problem with Tony Hirschman's pit stop basically just comes down to the crew itself. They were a little slow in getting around to the other side. They didn't want to go down a lap, so they let him go back out and bring him back in and get the left side changed.
hold the lap under caution here, Ralph, before we go back to green. Let the field realign itself again. Double file restart. 1 lap to go this time by. Jamie Tomato trying to clinch up this championship. Hasn't been easy, and he'll have to run hard to do it. Let's go back to Ralph.
Well, we talked earlier about how frustrated and nervous Jamie Tomato was about winning this championship. Take a look around me. Look at all the excess parts he's brought here with him. He can just about build a brand new car. The only thing he doesn't have here with him is a completed chassis. But one thing he did bring with him was a case of hats for Victory Lane for the sponsor. So they were thinking a little bit ahead.
Been watching Winston Cup races. All those parts tie wrapped to the board and have them ready there. Good sound planning, just in case. Up front, Rick Fuller. Lap car Billy Middleton to the inside. There is Tomato, and he is back in the 7th, 8th row. 15th on the track as they get the restart. And we'll see just how much track position means as Rick Fuller brings them to green. Coming up the outside, the 31 of Ferrari hauls it into the corner. Baldwin, a little bit of bump and run there, and they were 3 wide for a moment coming off turn 2 back in the back. Reggie Ruggiero is 3rd in line in the TJ's Toyota number 6. The Reg is ready to put on the show.
Like Rick Fuller's car, even though he's leading the race right now, is a little bit bulky right in the center of the corner. Particularly down at 3 and 4, watch the car. He wants to slide up the racetrack. And Tony Ferrari gave him a pop last time he went through turn 3 and 4.
That's the Kurt Chase car, driven by Rick Fuller. And here's Tony Hirschman trying to move up through. He is at the very back of the pack, only 6 cars behind him. Pulling up on Carl Pastriak and trying to move forward. Up front, Reggie Ruggiero had the move coming out of turn number 2, and now he's got Tom Baldwin to play bumper tag with. Baldwin in number 7, the black car, right behind Ruggiero. Ruggiero trailing the 31 of Tony Ferrari.
You know, it's interesting, Mike, see these cars bump. They've got this, really, it's a push bar, a crash bar, or a bump bar on the front of the cars. The guy nails you pretty hard like that. He gets you in the center of the corner. He's just letting you know, hey, I'm getting a little impatient back here. You know, I'm going to pop you, let you know you're holding me up a little. If he hits you going into the corner, it's going to upset the car. So
the Reg is ready to rumble. Here's S.J. Avanchin out of Connecticut going behind the wall. The Reg is pulled right up on Rick Fuller, and Baldwin is there. And behind him, Ruggiero's teammate, Mike Iwanitzko, in 4th place now.
Those 2 cars qualified on the hard tires, so they did not have to spit and change tires. They're right at the front of the racetrack now, or the race pack now, just like Reggie Ruggiero said they would be. Once the cars got started, then the gumballs slowed down a little and had to come off.
Rick Fuller also opted to start this race on the harder compound tire. But Ruggiero appears quicker as he hauls down the straightaway. Gains a bit going into the corner. Fuller, though, pulls him off the turn. Ruggiero looks to the inside and bank. That little hi, how are you? Glad to see you.
Yeah, Reggie got a good jump off the turn, too.
Rick Fuller, though, he's really matured in these last 2 to 3 seasons as a driver. And this car, with little funding, kind of run out of Kurt Chase's back pocket. And what it makes, they have done very, very well this year.
Watch the camera angle on the cars as we're exiting turn 4 now. Watch as we go into turn 1 and how wide Reggie Ruggiero is able to swing when he goes out into that turn. He's a full lane higher than what Fuller is, and he can really accelerate up there. So he's making full use of that outside groove right now.
And he's got room to work because Iwanitzko in 4th place is pounding the black car of Tom Baldwin. And that gave Reg a little bit of breathing room. He tries to work race leader Rick Fuller.
Well, that's pretty good teamwork there.
Hirschman is mired in traffic. He has not cleared Pastriak. He's way in the back. Tomato, who made 1 pit stop, is coming up well, as is Mike Stefanik. They are 9th and 10th. Rick Fuller, Reg Ruggiero. Ruggiero, in many, many years with the Fiore team, was never reluctant to stop in the pits and get tires. Confident in the ability of the crew to put the right tires in the car and his ability to get back to the front of the pack. With this new team, we asked him how important pit strategy would be. Reggie?
Well, it's a mandatory pit between laps 75 and 175, I believe. So you'll have most of the people come in around, if there's a caution around lap 75. We plan on doing the same thing, but we don't know if we're going to change tires or not. The fellas that went with the softer left rear, softer right front, they're going to have to pit and change tires. I don't know whether they're going to mandate a 2-tire pit rule tomorrow or a 4-tire per caution. If they do the 2, that means that all the guys are going to have to pit twice, and I'll be on the racetrack, and they'll have to play catch-up.
That decision since been made, allowing 4 tires to be changed on a pit stop. And several cars, including Stefanik and Tomato, Hirschman, who pitted twice, Doug Hebron, Satch Worley, and George Brunholz will all do just that.
And they all pitted before that 75 lap mark, so will have to come back in and pit again.
Good battle for 6th spot. Doug Hebron in the Lenny Bowler car just made the move and picked up the spot on Steve Hart of Long Island. Bowler is a mechanical wizard. He is famous, the man who owns the 3 car, for getting more out of his race car with less dollars and having a lot of fun in the process. In the late 60s, he invented Bowler's patented ball joint coolers. Actually, they were brake cooling ducts, first seen on a modified, and they were cut from Maxwell House coffee cans and attached to the tie rod with hose clamps. Pretty soon, everybody had them. Right behind him, Steve Park. Bob Park also in this race. Good battle there for 6th. Hebron now trying to move up and challenge the leader. Ruggiero and Uinitz go 2nd and 4th. Our teammates, same car owner, same chassis design. These cars run basically to one of 3 chassis. Either the Maynard Troyer design, the Richie Evans design, later refined, or the Sherwood Motorsports design that Mike McLaughlin and Ed Blemke engineered for the Billy Carrazzo team. Dimensionally and appearance-wise, they're all pretty much the same. Rick Fuller in front, Reggie Ruggiero in 2nd, Tom Baldwin in 3rd, Mike Uinitz go 4th, then this man, Doug Hebron, in the blue number 3, the 5th place car, Stephen Park, number 24, in 6th, and the 31 of Tony Ferrani, mixed right in there with him. Tommy Bowles having a good run, then Mike Stefanik. There's Bowles in the white 76, and Stefanik will pit under green. Mike Stefanik on pit road as Jamie Tomato whistles past. Sly Zabin and crew getting underneath that car, jacking it up. Okay, it's in the air and it's down, and he's away. No fuel, no tires. That's the mandatory pit stop. He does it under green, and did he lose a lap? No. Now, what a piece of strategy that was.
Well, he said he had something up his sleeve.
And he's playing track position. Because everybody else now is going to have to stop, and they will all have to come back up past him. Rick Fuller at the front of the field has not made a pit stop. They'll have to make one. Reg Ruggiero, Tommy Baldwin, Mike Uinitz goes from 4.
Mike, what that does, the move that Mike Stefanik made there, if they do have a caution now, and really now until lap 175, these guys want to make their mandatory pit stop, Mike Stefanik does not have to come back in. He can stay out there. So all the cars, by virtue of his staying on the racetrack, all the cars will have to line up behind him. So pretty doggone good piece of strategy there. Good thinking on his part.
They've tried a number of strange appearing procedural rules in the modified division this year. Today is one of them. You have to make a stop, and all you had to do was jack 2 wheels off the ground. It could be the lefts, the rights, or the rears, but they had to go up in the air and fuel the car if you want, change tires if you want. When you have to stop the car and jack the rear end up, that's what they decided. Stefanik did just that and no more. Spinning down the front stretch, number 31. Going around is Tony Ferrani. He comes to a halt. Now he's well down off the racetrack, fires it up. Oh, here comes traffic, and Ferrani just barely gets away in front of Larry Moore. We will stay green. Wow, that was a bold move.
That was close. I thought Moore was flying.
I think Larry Moore did too. 82 laps complete of the 200. Ruggiero right up all but against the rear bumper of Rick Fuller's number 77.
Randy was running in 6th place before that spin, and interestingly enough, to this point in the race, there has still only been 1 car fall out of the race.
That would be S.J. Avanchin's car. Back straight away. Casting long shadows now on Fuller. Ruggiero is a patient driver. When he came to the modifieds from a real bull ring, the now defunct quarter-mile Plainville Stadium in Connecticut, he was a charger, and he had a bit of a reputation as a banger and a basher, but he has really matured. He picks his spots carefully, like this one.
We've got a challenge for the lead right now. Reggie Ruggiero got under Rick Fuller as they came off second turn. He could not make the pass. He pops him pretty good as they come off of fourth. That seems to be pretty normal in this division. I mean, you're going to tap a guy. These cars run such close quarters. They have such wide tread widths. There's no sheet metal up there to damage, so you're not going to hurt anything. Let the guy know you're there.
There are 24 races a year on this tour, and some of these teams go through 24 bumpers a season.
And just as we're speaking, Tom Baldwin in car number 7 gave second place to Reggie Ruggiero a shot.
Rick Fuller is the race leader. Let's visit his pit with Ralph.
Mike, Kurt Chase is the crew chief for Rick Fuller. And Kurt, your guy's in a heated battle with the Reds right now. Is he going to be able to hold them off?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that last part.
Rick is in a heated battle with the Reds. Can he hold them off?
I hope so. Unical Pontiac is running real good today, and we hope to stay right up front. We've got to come in for a touch and go, a little bit of gas, and we'll be right back out.
Mike Stefanik came in just about the 75 lap marker. Is that the way to do it, or do you think you guys got another trick up your sleeve?
Right now, it looks like he made an awful smart move. I wish we thought of it first.
I would agree. I think there are probably 31 car owners wishing they'd thought of that one. It was a great move by Stefanik, Sly Saban, and his car owner is his wife, Julie. They have a young daughter, and Julie's grandfather funds the race team. Now here is Ruggiero on pit road. The TJ's Toyota team. And up goes the jack, up goes the left rear, up goes the right rear, down goes Ruggiero, and away we go. I don't think this pit stop rule is turning out quite like NASCAR intended.
No, I don't think so, but you know, that's a little bit of a case of monkey see, monkey do there. They saw what Mike Stefanik did and did exactly the same thing. They just waited about 15 laps longer to do it.
No, a good idea when they see one. So Ruggiero is out, didn't lose a lap. Now the cars that wait for a caution will be at the back of the line behind this duo. Battle up front now as Tom Baldwin takes advantage of the Ruggiero pit stop to battle Rick Fuller.
And interestingly enough, the move that Reggie Ruggiero there made enabled him to get back out on the racetrack ahead of Mike Stefanik. So they used Stefanik's ploy there and did it better. They did it quicker.
Rick Fuller appears to be in trouble. He is backed way up from the two new lead cars, Tom Baldwin and Mike Iwanitzko. And now it's Doug Hebron who puts the bash to the back of Fuller's car. He is all but in the way. And the Kurt Chase car not working up to par. And behind the two leaders, Rick Fuller will drop another spot. Make that two, Hebron and Tom Bowles. Rick Fuller now really backsliding, trying to hang on to it ahead of Eddie DeHaan. Ralph Shaheen is down below. Ralph?
Well, we're with Kurt Chase here. Kurt, what is the problem with Rick's car now?
It looks like we've got a flat on the left front going soft. Unical Pontiac was running so good, and the flat tire will take care of it when he comes in.
Are you going to bring him in soon?
As soon as there's a caution, we'll come in if we can hold on.
Well, if he's not the caution, that is, Brunhosel goes by him with a bit of bump and thump, as does Tomeno. Jamie Tomeno dodged a bullet there, as he is on the left of your screen, the point leader. Fuller's in deep trouble now. The field is stacked up all around him, and Hirschman almost got caught in that one. So too Frank Fleming in the 07 car. That'll move Hirschman back up into the top 10. And Rick Fuller, I don't know, Glenn, would you fit in this thing already if you were Rick Fuller?
Well, I think I would have had to, because he's losing a lot. Now he almost turns it around up in 3 and 4. He's losing so much time on the racetrack. Had he changed and got good tires, he could have gone out and made up some time with fresh tires. Now he's lost that time, so I think that's a mistake on their behalf.
The caution he's waiting for could well be him, as Fuller is now at the back of the pack, out of harm's way, in front of only 3 and 4 cars before the race leader once again. And that leader, Tommy Baldwin, is now streaking away from Iwanitzko. There's Fuller's car again getting bypassed and hanging out.
Tom Baldwin's car won the Best Appearing Car award, and now it's the Best Disappearing Car. He's running off the field.
So true. Rick Fuller continues to struggle. Ruggiero now, having made that stop, is going to go fast. Coming up on the halfway point in just a couple of laps, Tom Baldwin, this man is your leader. Mike Ioannidze in second. Tom Bowles is up to third. We'll be back to the Martinsville Speedway right after these messages. Tom Baldwin took it over from Rick Fuller, who's been having tire trouble and is still on the racetrack. Behind Baldwin is Mike Ioannidze, the second-place car, whose crew has been screaming and waving and doing anything they could to get their driver to pit. Ralph Shaheen is down there. Ralph?
Mike, you can see the frustration out of the crew. They're doing just like you said, yelling and screaming and
Trouble
waving.
in turn 3. A big pileup. Eddie DeHaan is in it. Bob Park pulls away. The 88 car. Ferranti is there. Troyer. Kenny Troyer is there. And one other car, Larry Moore, I believe.
Well, and Rick Fuller, and if I'm not mistaken, Fuller is what caused the problem up there. He got into the corner. He still had not made a pit stop. The car turned sideways in front of a group of cars, and it was pandemonium after that.
And the caution he was looking for turned out to be his own. A very tough break for Fuller. All cars have pulled away from the scene now, except Eddie DeHaan.
Is that DeHaan?
Excuse me, Richie Gallup. I'm sorry, that's Richie Gallup's car that's up there against the wall. Here are the mandatory stops. Now, what will Baldwin do, the race leader? Tomeno is in. Bowles is in. They're going to put tires on Baldwin's car on the right side. Tomeno will get right side tires under Koshman. Hirschman, George Kent, all getting jacked up. They're going to look at Hirschman's. They're not going to change them. He's up and down, and he's a little surprised to be sent off. Kent's car is up and down. You're watching Jamie Tomato's pit stop, right side tires. Jordan Brunholzl getting right side. Tommy Bowles got a lift and let loose. So did Larry Moore. And Richie Gallup's car is the one up against the fence, not Eddie DeHaan. As being involved in that caution up in turn number 3. 5 cars in all were in it. Plenty of action on the backside of pit road as well. Carl Pastriak, the car closest to your screen. And here's Mikey. Mike Ioannidze gets his stop. Rick Fuller on pit road. Doug Hevron and Satch Worley. Bob Hart getting right sides. And Rick Fuller is going to have to go for 4. That'll put him to the tail end. Ioannidze with the up and down. And the hood is off on Satch Worley's car. Looks like a brake duct hanging on the left front of Rick Fuller's car.
It's just a brake duct, cooling duct, so it's nothing.
Not an old coffee can.
No, they use flex hose now.
Dryer bed hose. Boy, and to cut that off, that's not going to help, because cooling those brakes is so important here at Martinsville.
Well, they're at a point in the race now, they're over halfway through that the problem with Hamlin. The problem, plus he's got a lot more problems than that brake duct hanging off of that tire that went down on and cost him all the time on the racetrack.
They're under the hood on the Mystic Missile, Satch Worley's car. Bob Garbarino and crew.
Now we're getting the view of the cars running at the front of the pack, and the 2 cars that are up front, car number 6, Reggie Ruggiero, car number 15, Mike Stefanik, the guys who used the ploy of the stop and go early on in the race. Now they're at the front of the pack.
There are a lot of people you'd say, you want to stop under green in a modified race? You got to be nuts, but that's what they did, and it's worked for them. Tom Baldwin was the leader at 100 laps. Our Quaker State race summary brought to you by Quaker State. 1 Tough Motor Oil. 75.5 miles per hour, 3 lead changes, 2 caution flags for 14 laps. Now working the 3rd caution flag. Jeff Fuller is out of the race, and it looks like the Richie Gallup car, now as a result of this caution flag, will join him behind the pit wall. 107 laps complete. Well, it's not quite a full moon, as we're out of daylight savings time, but in modified racing, they've always said that if the full moon is out, there will be calamity on the racetrack. Is that true in the Carolinas as well?
Yeah, it's true, and I want to know if that's what they call a blue moon, because the sky is crystal blue, and there's the moon. I don't understand this. Somebody explain this to me.
Maybe Ralph can explain that to you, sir. Explain something, Ralph.
Well, Mike, I'll try and explain something. How about the fact that Satch Worley's in the wrong pit lane, and the crew's working on his engine, and he's upsetting one crew, Jamie Tomeno's crew, which is the pit that he is in. You can see the crew feverishly working on the car, and also the fact that Jamie Tomeno's crew is trying to help as much as they can with giving him tools, because they want him out of here as quickly as he can get out.
He's 1 pit down from his assigned pit space as they pull the rocker covers off that Ron Hutter-built small block Chevy that has powered Worley throughout a very strong season. He's third in the points. He may have dropped the cylinder. You think, Glenn, they're trying to get a couple of those rockers off it so Worley can finish and try to salvage some points.
Yeah, that looks like what they're trying to do because he's still involved in a tight point battle. And again, there's a lot of money at stake there.
Satch Worley, third in the standings, came into this race 6 points ahead of Rick Fuller. Both valve covers coming off. There's a good look at the innards. And, yep, number 6 hole. There's the rocker, the valve stem gone. So they just disconnected it, cleared away the deadwood. Send it back out on 7 cylinders. A little bit of cleanup up here in turn number 3, where Richie Gallup ended up against the fence.
A lot of cleanup. There's a lot of dirt on the racetrack up there. It's covered from the bottom groove up to the wall. It's going to take some time for the cleanup crew to get all this dirt pushed down there. That's the reason for the extended caution period that we're seeing right now. See, they're shoveling the stuff off the racetrack. When you got to shovel debris off the racetrack, there's a lot of stuff up there.
It took a lot of speedy dry to clean up whatever Gallup left up near the wall in turn number 3, and they've got to do a good job of that. These cars are running so high up on the racetrack as opposed to the Busch cars and the late model stockers.
Gallup had gotten down on the grass and had scooped a bunch of dirt and mud up. You can see the kind of the red tint color to it. There's a lot of dirt up there as well as speedy dry too. So it's going to make the going a little bit precarious when they go back under green.
Coming up on 120 laps, 200 make up the distance, and we'll close out NASCAR Modified, Winston Tour Racing. Busch Grand National season is complete. Steve Grissom, winner of the final race, after Kenny Wallace ran out of gas with less than a handful of laps to go. Wayne Patterson, winner of the late model stock car 100, that also makes up this triple header. These Northern Modified drivers coming south to Martinsville is, well, kind of like everybody going to Daytona for the start of the season in the Winston Cup and Busch Grand National ranks, as this has been the mecca of the modifieds for nearly 30 years.
Mike, with the exit of Richie Gallup out of the race, those are the 2 cars falling out of the race that Jamie Tomeno needed to fall out of the race for him to clinch the championship. Gallup's card has not been officially pulled from scoring yet, but with the damage that he sustained in that terrific crash down there, looks like that Tomeno is indeed going to be the 1990 modified champion.
1958, Bud Olson, the last New Jersey driver to win the title. Tomeno has been chasing this championship for the better part of a decade, and it appears it will finally be his when today is done. The way they're running at 111 laps, Reggie Ruggiero, the race leader, Mike Stepanek is second, Tony Hirschman is third. In the 4th spot, George Kent, the Art Berry car. 5th is Tom Baldwin. Yeah, I got to tell you the story on Kent. It's Halloween weekend, right? And it's always been a big weekend here in Martinsville for the modified guys to come down and let a little loose. George got caught lobbing a few rolls in the restaurant at dinner last night, so the rollees filled his bed up with breadcrumbs, kind of in retaliation. That led to somebody having a whole lot of stagger on their rental car when they went out this morning and found the left side tires flat, and this will continue. They won't stop the practical jokes until it's time to start the season again down here next March. They work hard and they play hard. Let's get out of Ralph Shaheen.
Well, we found Richie Gallup here in the back paddock area. Richie, what happened to him?
Somebody hit the wall on the right side, and then in the corner, Ricky Fuller spun and come back out, and I went in the wall.
How are you feeling yourself? The car obviously not looking too good.
I'll be all right.
Well, Richie Gallup's day came to an end, and you can see the damage, Mike, to the front end. The right front just about sheared off the car.
Well, that's what it's designed to do, Ralph, in those situations. That upper A-arm shearing, saving the chassis, and the easily bolt-on replaceable parts taking the brunt of it. Jamie Tomeno to clinch the modified championship here today. Something he has chased for a long, long time. Been his dream to nail down a national title. Just what does it mean to him, Jamie?
Oh, yeah, because most people don't do that. Most people win championships at their regular track and stuff. But me, I never won any type of championship, so this being my first is like having 20 of them at one time.
Very, very happy guy.
He's an excitable personality. He's a lot of fun to talk to. He's not shy at all to give you an answer and tell you exactly where he stands and how he feels.
Pace car leads him around one more time. Let's continue taking you back to the field with Ruggiero the leader. Mike Stefanik in second, Hirschman third, fourth, George Kent, fifth, Tom Baldwin, sixth is Tommy Bowles, the young driver from Connecticut, having a good day, seventh, Larry Moore, in the eighth spot, George Brunhosel, now running ninth is Steve Park, and 10th, Bruce D'Alessandro. 11th is Mike Ioannitsko after finally making his pit stop. And this may not be over yet. Steve Avanchin is back out on the racetrack. He had been reported the first car out of the race, so we may put Tomeno's championship away for the moment.
I believe Jeff Fuller was first one out, Mike.
Okay.
Crash.
You are correct.
Gallop, and both those cars are crashed beyond repair here today, so I think Jamie's safe for right now if our calculations are correct.
Well, it is Halloween weekend. Any of these cars can rise back and come out again. You never know. Ioannitsko posted 11th. 12th is Jamie Tomeno. 13th is Frank Fleming. 14th, Carl Pastriak. 15th is Doug Hebron. 16th is Eddie DeHaan. And 17th, the last car on the lead lap, is Tim Ayer. Still a bit of Speedy Dry going down.
They're putting Speedy Dry down now as they exit turn 2, so they pretty well got the whole speedway covered now, particularly in turns. Turns 3 and 4 looking pretty good now. The field moving down the backstretch. Still under caution, but there are a lot of fluids put down. Evidently somebody must have been leaking something also as they came out of the pits, because the Speedy Dry truck now dumping the oil absorbent all the way down the length of the backstretch. So that's going to make for an interesting restart.
If you're just joining us here at Martinsville, Virginia, the Winston Classic finishing up its final race of the day. Coming up next, preview to post, review of yesterday's action of the Breeders' Cup. That'll be following us here at Martinsville, Virginia. And we'll get an update from them shortly out at Belmont Park. Right now, we're under the caution flag for a grinding crash up in turn number 3. And a bit of Speedy Dry being put down to clean things up. Only the third caution of this race. Rick Fuller involved in it with Richie Gallup, who's out of the race. Bob Park, Kenny Troyer were the other cars involved. So they are looking around at who might be dropping this fluid, and they are pointing to and holding Tony Ferranti in start-finish. Bill Bryce, one of the tech inspectors of the tour, having a look underneath Ferranti's car, seeing if there's anything leaking out onto the speedway.
Tony was involved in that stint up there with Richie Gallup, and it is possible that he did make contact with something because of finding fuel leak or fluid leak of some type. Waving him on now, though.
And nothing there. Ferranti will go back into his position, go back around. It's going to put an awful lot of oil dry on the racetrack once we do get this one restarted again. They're covering now the whole front straightaway, so if there is an offending car, they don't yet have it.
Culprit still lurks.
Cleanup is complete up in turn number 3, so we're not too far away from going back to green here. Again, we will get an update for you momentarily from Belmont Park, and then preview post will follow this race here at Martinsville, Virginia.
You saw car number 6 there. That's the car of leader Reggie Ruggiero. Again, we got the double file restarts. Ruggiero will be down on the inside lane, which right now is definitely the preferred lane with all this Speedy Dry oil absorbent down on the racetrack. I think he would definitely want to be on the inside groove, and Mike Stefan's going to have it tough on the outside.
S.J. Avanchin, inspectors had a look at him and sent him around, so now they're going to have to run a couple laps under this caution to clean that Speedy Dry before we get back to green. Coming up on lap 118 here at Martinsville Speedway in the Winston Classic to ring down the curtain on stock car racing short track style for 1990. But they'll have to run a couple more laps here under caution. There's a look at the top 5 as they run. 118 laps go up on the board. Ruggiero, Stefanik, Hirschman, Kent, and Baldwin. Tommy Bowles in the 6th position. George Brunhosel in the number 28 car. Jay Randolph is standing by in Belmont Park. Let's go up there for a brief update. Jay? We're back at Martinsville Speedway. Mike Joy with Glenn Jarrett, Ralph Shaheen trackside, trying to finish off the Winston Classic. 80 laps to go. Reg Ruggiero, the race leader, and they're double file for this restart, remember, until lap 150. So the second place car pulls right up alongside the first. Makes for interesting restarts. So we're getting set to go racing. First, let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Well, with me, Mike, is Mike Clayton, crew chief for Jamie Tomato, and according to our calculations, you guys would be champs. Is that the way you see it?
Well, we hope so. You know, we came down here with a big point lead, but our main concern is trying to win this race. The Nessus Crunch, VP Racing Fuel, Danny's Mark, and Pontiac been running strong. We ran into a slight tire problem, so we had to come in again. We're in the back again. But hopefully, we're just going to worry about winning this race and let the points take care of themselves.
Getting down to it. Green flag. Ruggiero brings them off the corner. Stefanik has a full head of steam up the outside.
See all the speedy drive being blown up there. You saw a lot of cars get a little squirrely coming off the forward. Same thing as they exit off of turn 2.
And Stefanik with the car squirrely in the outside lane. He loses the lead and second spot. It's Ruggiero. Hirschman putting the tattoo on Ruggiero. Hirschman dives to the inside in car number 1. Baldwin on the inside of the black car, gunning for third against George Kent. Can't do it. Kent down the back straightaway, puts Baldwin back to fifth.
Baldwin dives back in under him, trying to take away that fourth position. Meanwhile, up front, action is fast and furious. Reggie Ruggiero is trying to hold off. Tony Hirschman's got his bumper right up at the tail end of that car.
Rick Fuller said yesterday, I've done most of my passing this season on restarts. Once these cars sort out, they are difficult to pass. They get such good side bite and jump off the turn, it's tough to get around. Jamie Tomato up on the high side now. Tomato against Baldwin, and they almost touch going into 1. Tomato battling for 5th place.
Well, you got a good bike there coming off of 2. Just pull right up alongside of Baldwin. You have to get out of the gas to keep from running over the car right in front of George Kent.
George Kent holding in the 4th spot. The Duke, for many years, perennial point-standing runner-up for the national title to the late Richie Evans. Kent in 4th position. Spinner in turn 2. Eddie DeHaan comes down the racetrack. Ricky Fuller tags him. And Fuller kind of got sent in there by the 99 car of Tim Ayer. Fuller backs up. Well, he's banded up now, and we'll get a caution. There's DeHaan pulling away. And it hasn't been Rick Fuller. It hasn't been the Fuller brothers' day.
It sure hasn't. They've been involved in a lot of altercations on the racetrack. Jeff first out of the race in a wreck of his own, not of his making. We got another look at what happened up there in turns 1 and 2.
Ricky Fuller will go to pit road. See, DeHaan is already spun, the red car. And Fuller trying to lock the brakes up and get away, but the 99 of Tim Ayer kind of sent him on in there. Not meaning to, but helpless to do anything about it.
One more look at it, you can see DeHaan already stalled down the racetrack. Looks like he might have got against the bottom curb there and all that traffic in the car. The rear just bounced around on it. And, Rick Fuller, having no place to go, just locked it down, spun around.
It is now official. Jamie Tomato is the 1990 NASCAR Winston Modified Tour champion out of Howell, New Jersey.
Right before that caution there, I was watching Tomato on the racetrack. He was driving like a man possessed. I think he already knew that he was a champion, and now he can forget about that and say, hey, guys, let's go racing. He was putting that car in some places that he hadn't done before.
He has won here before. Wants to go out on top with a victory. Tomato did not get a particularly good restart as Tom Baldwin gets by, and they're 2 by 2 down into the corner. Kent, the meat in the sandwich, double file in front and behind him. Hirschman, Ruggiero, Kent, Baldwin, Stefanik, Tomato. That's Stefanik putting his nose down low on the racetrack underneath the black car of Tom Baldwin.
Hirschman wasted no time in getting that car number 1 right back up front by Reggie Ruggiero. Reggie running a strong second right now, but it looks like Tony's starting to put a little distance between Reggie Ruggiero.
There's Stefanik in 15. He and Tomato are side by side. 5th place. Tomato drops in 6th. 130 laps, 70 to go. 16 cars on the lead lap here. Hirschman up front. Now the 2nd place car after the restart is Ruggiero. And moving up to 3rd is Kent on the restart, putting Baldwin to 4th, Stefanik to 5th, Ruggiero to 6th. Brunholz is 7th, Tom Bowles in the 8th spot. So almost every one of the top 8 spots changed positions on that last double file restart.
Yes, they did. You know, it's interesting, Mike. Right now, this is about as close to modified competition as I have seen here in a long, long time. You start really evenly matched. Nobody has a clear advantage. The biggest advantage right now that Tony Hirschman has is he's got a clear racetrack for him. He doesn't have to worry about running into laps.
Frank Fleming having a good day in the Hayes Jewelers car 07. Fleming is up to the 9th position. He had to come through the heat races yesterday and qualified 23rd. A lot of smoke, though, out of that 07 car up in turn 4. Now it goes away as it comes down the front stretch. There is Tomeno, the man who is the national champ. Let's go back to his pit.
Well, we're with Danny Ust, the car owner for Jamie Tomeno. And Danny, let me be the first one to tell you that we've heard it's official now. You guys, the 1990 Winston Modified champions. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Jamie and the crew worked so hard for this. I feel like I died and went to heaven.
Will you give him the okay to turn up and just go for it now?
Yes, we're going to try to run out for it now. Go for the front.
Danny will accept the car owner's laurels, the championship banquet. And Frank Fleming slowed considerably on the racetrack and has now gone to the back pits after a lot of smoke from the right side of his car.
I think he got the Joy Jinx put on in there, didn't he? As soon as you started talking about him, smoke came out of the car and the poor guy had to go to the pits.
Oh, well. Tom Baldwin's putting the heat on George Kent at 3rd spot, right behind the 2 leaders, Hirschman and Ruggiero. Things are heating up.
Front 2 cars pulled off about 5 car lengths from everybody else.
Now there's Kent in 3rd, and here comes the 7, the black car of Tom Baldwin off Long Island, Bellport, New York, his home, and Mike Stepanek is right with them. 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Kent, who raced for many years for his brother Ron, the Plaza Mobile cars out of Horseheads, New York, the yellow number 26 machines. Now climbing into this number 22, usually 21 car for Art Berry. Mike Stepanek is in the pit lane.
Stepanek slowed as they entered right in the middle of turns 3 and 4, had to drop down on the pit road. Obviously got some kind of problem up to it. Chris going to the pit, so it looks like that might be it for his chances today. Tough break because he's the one that came up with that great innovative move about stopping early in the turn.
Let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, there's a problem with water leaking out of Mike Stepanek's car. Their crew is trying to find the leak. They're not sure exactly where it's coming from. People are looking all underneath the car and around the side of the machine. They know what the problem is, and they seem to think they've got it. The bond is going back on the car. Mike's sitting frustrated, as patient as he can. You can see water leaking out of the side of the car, and they'll be turning it back.
Mike Stepanek trying to ride this one out. The defending national champion, whose reign as title holder ends today. 58 laps to go here at Martinsville Speedway. There's the rundown. We'll be right back. At Martinsville Speedway, 55 laps to go. Tony Hirschman trying to win the season closer. Reg Ruggiero. There's a look at how modified racing used to be. The Tant Mitchell Coupe, Clayton Mitchell and Jack Tant, prepared this car for Rapid Ray Hendrick out of Richmond, who won many a race here at the Martinsville Speedway. Hendrick passed away last month. He was missed by everybody in this end of the sport.
You saw the wing around the car number 11 there. Ray was affectionately known as Flying Virginia, and he did just that. I had the opportunity to race against him early in my career, and he was a tremendous competitor. Most likable guy I think you've ever met on the racetrack.
His son's car in the late model stock division now carries the same colors and numbers. Mike Stepanek is back on pit road. Defending national champ, the man in the blue shirt is engine builder Ron Hutter. Ralph is there.
Mike, it turns out they got a problem with overheating on the car, and that's what they're trying to take care of right now. You can see them pouring cold water over the radiator, trying to cool it down, bring the temperatures back down.
Eddie DeHaan has spun at turn number 4, and the caution is out. I think that's the Shaheen jinx. Every time we go to Ralph, somebody spins. Sorry, Ralph.
Unfortunately, it's been Eddie DeHaan 3 times.
Let's have another look. Round it goes. Cut a right rear, perhaps. In a cloud of dust and tire smoke. We're under caution. This is the 5th one of this race. Comes at lap 144. And that was not a single car incident. Larry Moore has found his way into the wall as part of the DeHaan spin up at turn number 4. Larry was a car owner and a car sponsor for several years, graduated a car owner, and then decided that if he was going to pay the bills, he ought to have the fun. So now he's behind the wheel of a Tour Modified, and he's given a good accounting of himself. Let's have a look at our 150-lap Quaker State race summary. Brought to you by Quaker State, One Tough Motor Oil. Tony Hirschman, the leader. Average speed slowed by the now 5 cautions, 68 miles an hour. 33 laps under caution up to this point. 6 lead changes in what has been quite a competitive race. Let's have a look at the drivers out. Jeff Fuller crashed right in the opening laps. Tony Ferrani is out. Kenny Troyer. Richie Gallup went out in the lap 104 crash. Frank Fleming with engine trouble. And now it appears Larry Moore's day is over as well as a result of this incident. Now this will be a single file restart. The complexion of this game will change. The final 50 laps, if there are caution flags, will be restarted single file rather than double file as they have been. That'll be an advantage to Hirschman. He won't have to worry about Reg Ruggiero right alongside. Tommy Bowles in for right side tires. And that's a different body style. An Eagle, the Bowles Jeep Eagle out of Ellington, Connecticut. Stefanik sits on pit road, and Rick Fuller is back in the pits. This time, they're looking under the hood of the Kurt Chase car. .151 down, 49 laps to go. 4 tires for Tom Bowles as the safety crews continue to attend to Larry Moore's car. Checking air pressures on Rick Fuller, so we'll send him back out. Trying to salvage a good finish. And the points here. Mike Stefanik's car boiling over as they add water. Trying to cool it down and get him to the checkered flag here today. Stefanik's second place standing in the points is in doubt. He came in here 51 points ahead of Satch Worley, so needs to finish this race. Likewise, Rick Fuller, who came in here just 6 points behind Worley, trying to pile some on the board. So we're under what looks like another somewhat lengthy caution here in Martinsville, Virginia, as they attend to Larry Moore up in the 4th corner. 5th caution of the day. 48 laps left here to run at the Martinsville Speedway. Up front, Tony Hirschman, Reg Ruggiero in 2nd. Tom Baldwin. Let's go right back to Belmont Park and get this brief update. Pace car pulls in on the back straightaway. There'll be single file on the restart. Tony Hirschman, Reg Ruggiero, George Kent in 3rd, Tom Baldwin in 4th. In 5th, Jamie Tomeno, George Brunholzl in 6th, Mike Uinitsko is the 7th place car. Back in 8th, Stephen Park. Out of turn 4, restart green, and Hirschman brings them down. Single file to turn number 1. Ruggiero looking to exploit the advantage of the restart, and a little running room finds none.
He got off a very, very smooth start. Reggie was right with him, but he couldn't gain an inch on him.
Kent is right there on the back bumper of Ruggiero, all the way down the front straightaway. Baldwin in 4th, tight pack of 6 cars. Round out of turn 2. Cars have become so refined over the years, and despite the 3 different chassis designs so close to one another, it's almost like IROC racing. Cars are evenly matched.
Absolutely, that's what we were talking about earlier. They're so evenly matched now. The competition level is the highest that I have ever seen.
Big difference in driving styles, but on the racetrack, a little difference in outcome at this point. Hirschman, very smooth, calculating driver. Ruggiero, very aggressive driver in 2nd place. And George Kent, who is an opportunist, man who holds his spot, moves up when the opportunity presents itself in 3rd, and Tom Baldwin, who's a real charger, in 4th.
You see Ruggiero give Hirschman a little bit of a nudge there about the middle of the backstretch. Pulled right up on him, tapped him with that push bar there. And hey, Tony, you better not slip. I'm right here waiting on you.
Another one of those Halloween deals. Kent now has about a car length of running room on fourth place Baldwin, but Tom Baldwin dives it hard into 3 and eats that up, so Kent responds with a little tap on the back bumper of Ruggiero.
All it takes is one little slip on these guys have right now. They're going to lose 3 or 4 positions because the cars are so even in the match.
Kent went way high in 1 to get a run out of turn number 2, and it brought him to the back bumper of Ruggiero once again. Kent 22.
Been watching him do that for the past few laps, Mike. He really goes in the corners higher than the other cars do. Really gets some acceleration in the middle of the turn.
Watch 22, George Kent, middle of your screen. High, drops it down low to get a run up off the corner. Got a little squirrely there. Long shadows now as they face the sun. Just coming out of turn number 4 for an instant and back into the shadows again.
Unfortunately, this racetrack is designed that the sun, even though you see a lot of the racetracks in shadow right now, it doesn't get into your face too badly going into the turn. That's when the sun is dangerous. They do see it coming off the floor a little bit, but it's only momentarily. It's not too bad on it.
Tony Hirschman, number 1 in the race and on the roof of his car. Red Ruggiero, that was a tap right at start and finish.
That was a push all the way down the front stretch.
George Kent, Tom Baldwin, Jamie Tomeno. And they'll run like this lap after lap after lap.
Yeah, you're talking about how cool and calculating Hirschman is. You've got to be cool to have nerves to stand up under you with what Reggie Ruggiero is putting through right now, because that really makes you tense. You don't know at what point that guy's going to lay the bumper to you. And like you say, Ruggiero being an aggressive driver, he's going to put that bumper there every time. Not to get him out of shape, not to spin him, just to work on the nose and let him know that he's back there. Hey, I'm tapping away. If you make a slip, I'm going to go by you.
The kind of deal where you take that rear view mirror and just bend it down.
Right.
In fact, some tracks that run the modifieds have outlawed rear view mirror.
No kidding.
Yep. Now Kent. And trouble in 4. One car is spun. And another big cloud of smoke. Here come the leaders into it, and it is, guess who? Eddie DeHaan again. And I'll tell you, when the car is not working and it won't come off the corner, and it's not your day, it's not your day. 165 laps complete, 35 to go. As DeHaan tries to refire that car once again from turn number 4. The running order unchanged in that run of green flag racing. Hirschman the leader, Ruggiero second, Kent is third, Baldwin fourth, Tomeno fifth. We'll be right back. Flag, and again Hirschman leads them on. Tomeno gets a good start. That's the white car on the inside, but he cannot overhaul Tom Baldwin at turn 1. Tony Hirschman, who may be running his last Winston Modified Tour race. Race leader trying to put together a Busch Grand National season for 1991. Ruggiero in second, Kent in third, Baldwin still fourth, and Tomeno fifth. George Brunholzl sixth, Mike Iwanitzko in seventh. Stephen Park in eighth. 14 cars on the lead lap. Back in ninth, Bruce Delisandro will drive for Bruce here today. In 10th, Doug Hebron. 11th, Carl Pastriak. Back at 12th place, Tim Ayer. DeHaan was 13th. That'll move up Tom Bowles. Bowles had been in the top 10, but made a late stop for tire.
You know, Michael commented a while ago about the shadows, and since then I've been watching. It's interesting. The cars are really getting through turns 1 and 2 very, very cleanly, because that portion of the racetrack is completely in shadow, so therefore it's cooler. Coming off the floor, there's still some bright sunshine down there. The cars want to slip and slide a little bit, so that's how much effect the sun has on the racetrack here.
If you're Ruggiero right now, what can you do? He's with a new team, driving his teammate to Mike Iwanitzko with what he told us was a pickup crew. Put together this morning. And we'll see what he can do with Tony Hirschman.
Mike, we had an opportunity to talk to the crews with both of our leaders. Both cars are on the same compound of tire, and those compounds are very hard right now. We told you that they have the open tire rule. They decided to go with the hard compounds, and they're going to stay that way. If there is anything that's different between the two cars, it's that Reggie Ruggiero is battling a bit of a push right now.
Hirschman, the leader from Pennsylvania, driving the number 1 car, fifth in the points. He moves up off on Rick Fuller today. Fuller has had a horrendous day and could finish as high as third in the final standing. Looking for his 4th checkered flag of the season. While Ruggiero is 6th of the points and also has 3 victories. Mike Stefanik has been running along trying to salvage 2nd in the points. He is again on pit road.
See leader Hirschman still maintaining about a 1-car length lead over Reggie Ruggiero. Reggie's car, as Ralph reported, is pushing a little bit. He really gains time in the middle of the corner. He has to accelerate to come off the turn. The car doesn't want to stay down low on the racetrack. It enables Hirschman to pull away by a car length.
25 laps to go. And you wonder, too, if perhaps Ruggiero could be cooling his tires and trying to save them for a run back at Hirschman. And there's so little difference between a car that's running spot on and a car that's running just a little bit off here.
Well, and another thing, too, it's to Ruggiero's advantage right now to keep going under green. He doesn't want to see another car. So we got to spin in turn 4.
Tom Bowles spins. Billy Middleton goes to the inside. And this will bring out the caution flag. That's Middleton, Winston-Salem area driver, who spun down to the inside to miss Tom Bowles. Bowles is running again. Like Bowles cut down a left rear to prompt that spin at turn number 4.
And just as we were talking about the fact that that's the last thing that Reggie Ruggiero wanted to see, because if a car is pushing, generally the longer it runs on the racetrack under green flag conditions, the less the push becomes. So therefore he's able to get that racetrack. But that's all out the window now.
Tom Bowles cut a left rear tire and spun at turn number 4. Way in the back on the right of your screen is the white car of Tom Bowles. There he is coming into view. Down goes the tire and around he goes. There's Billy Middleton's red car jumping to the grass. Nice job of evasion.
Sure was. Middleton almost got into the wall as he avoided that, but did a good job. Both cars were able to continue under their own power.
And Bowles, with a new sneaker, is back out. His older brother, Brian, raced for a number of years locally. Went back to run the family business. Tom picked up his racing career and brought him to the modified tour. That's a car.
That's a story with which I am most familiar.
They're car dealers, too.
One goes back and runs the family business. The other one goes on. He is a star in Western Cup racing.
Caution continues to wave. After the spin, the track truck will have a look around, make sure there's no further debris. It'll be at least a lap or two. Continued under the yellow here. Tony Hirschman trying to hold on and win it. We'll see if he can when we come back to the Martinsville Speedway right now. Let's pause for this regional break. Getting down to the finish of the Winston Classic. We'll return to Martinsville after the back under green with Hirschman leading off the restart. Ruggiero 2nd, Kent 3rd, Baldwin 4th, and Tomeno 5th. No change there. Brunholzl in the 6th spot. And Mike Ewanitz goes 7th.
Now Ruggiero seems to have found a little bit of extra traction coming off the turn. I don't know. The track cooling down may help him some. His car's sticking a little better. He's able to put some pressure on Hirschman now. But you can see Tony pull down away from Reggie as they come off at turn 4. That seems to be the place on the racetrack where he has the biggest advantage right now, is exiting turn 4.
Well, Ruggiero, as we said earlier, came to this series, not this season, but this series, a very aggressive driver. Has learned to temper that with patience. And has developed into one of certainly the top 2 or 3 drivers in this tour. And he may have been biding his time. One car has spun in the back straightaway, and Eddie DeHaan pulls away again. Well, that stacks up the field just a bit with a slow roller.
Well, that's 5 spins for Eddie today, and according to the rules of softball, he's out. 5 fouls is out.
Well, he may concur as he motors slowly around on the front straightaway. He has cut down a right rear tire. Leaders back straightaway, heading for 3. Closing laps. How much does Ruggiero have for Hirschman? We're about to find out.
Talking about how aggressive Ruggiero is, but the thing that I admire about his ability is that he is so smooth with it. He is tremendously smooth with these high-powered race cars, and he hardly ever gets his car out of shape.
Kent is right there, so Ruggiero has got to be a little defensive as well as offensive, going after Hirschman. As Kent is right with him, and Kent keeps looking to the outside every time they go in. 12 cars on the lead lap and all in the same straightaway. So nobody can really afford to bobble. That's how competitive this one's been. Hirschman the leader, Ruggiero second, Kent third, Baldwin fourth, Tomeno fifth. In the sixth spot, George Brunhosel. Seventh, Mike Iwanitzko. Eighth, Stephen Park. Ninth, Doug Hebron. 10th, Bruce D'Alessandro. And 11th, Tim Ayer.
Hirschman maintains that lead. I haven't seen him make a bobble all day.
Add Carl Pastriak to that list. He's 12th. Tomeno is starting to pull up and do the tattoo on Baldwin as well. So a bunch of hard chargers in that group. 8 laps to go. I think that's 7.
You got a spin off of turn 4. It's minor.
It's not Eddie DeHaan. Bruce D'Alessandro, who was running a very fine 10th place until that spin, but D'Alessandro gets it going once again and will not lose a lap. Here are the leaders coming back by. 6 laps to go, and Hirschman stretching it out. If you call 2 car lengths, stretching it out.
That's the biggest lead anybody's enjoyed in the last 50 laps. He probably feels pretty comfortable right now, 2 car length lead.
Ruggiero down in the corner, though, taking it right back at him and diving it in deep, cutting it to half a car length.
Well, that's one thing that a pushing race car will allow you to do. You can drive it down in the corner just a little bit deeper because the car will stick. The problem you have is when you try to turn the car in the middle of the turn and accelerate off the corner, it just doesn't want to do it.
And see Ruggiero fight that car as he comes off the corner, watching Hirschman disappear in front of him. 4 laps to go. Tony Hirschman trying to nail down win number 4 and a possible 3rd in the season-ending point tally. Going Busch Grand National Racing next year and leaving the modified.
He'll be a force to be reckoned with in the Busch Series. He's an extremely talented driver. He's got good equipment and knows how to use it.
Think of Terry Labonte. Very cool, calculating, heads-up, smart driver. And you got Hirschman, doesn't rattle.
Talks with his foot, not his mouth.
Well, if anything would rattle you, it would be Ruggiero filling up your mirror. 197, 198, 2 laps to go. And still, 7 cars could win it. One tight pack. Lapping Rick Fuller, who's had a tough day here. Kurt Chase team. Their string of good luck running out in the final race of the season. 11 cars in the lead lap. 12 with D'Alessandro. 1 lap to go. White flag. And Hirschman has a 2-car length lead. Out of the corner. He stretches it out to 3. 3.5 car lengths on Ruggiero. Reggie takes it down one more time. But off turn 4, it's over. Tony Hirschman will come home to his 4th checkered flag of the season. Ruggiero 2nd, George Kent 3rd, Tom Baldwin finishes up 4th today. Jamie Tomeno, the national champion, is 5th. 6th to George Brunhosel. 7th to Mike Iwanitzko. Stephen Park is 8th. Doug Hebron 9th. And unofficially, the 99, perhaps Carl Pastriak. Yes, Pastriak in the 10th spot. Tim Ayer. 11th, Bruce D'Alessandro, 12th. Number 2 on his roof with number 1 in the point standings, Jamie Tomeno, national NASCAR Winston Modified champion, and Tony Hirschman, for the 2nd year in a row, wins the final race of the season. And it may vault him as high as 3rd in the points. Let's go to victory lane. Tony Hirschman doing the hurry up in victory lane so we can get his comments on the air before we leave you today. Undoing the belts, about to climb out of a winning race car, the Universal Joint Sales Machine. Great day for Hirschman and a great victory. Ralph Sheheen is with him.
Well, Tony Hirschman, congratulations on a big win and a great way to tap off the year for you.
Isn't it ever? I tell you, we've been coming here for 10 years. I had 3 seconds here already. I just could never pull a big win off. I thought maybe it would never come. We had this car working perfection all weekend. Our first pit stop got messed up a little bit. We come back in, got our left sides back on. Car just run perfect the rest of the day.
Beautiful run for Tony Hirschman. He's the race winner. Jamie Tomeno is the national champion. And, boy, we promised excitement, and they delivered.
Absolutely. This was one of the best modified races I've ever seen anywhere, not just here at Martinsville.
Top 5 and the rest of the top 10 all finishing on the lead straightaway. Very competitive race. For Ralph Shaheen and for Glenn Jarrett, this is Mike Joy congratulating our winners today. Wayne Patterson, Steve Grissom, and Tony Hirschman, and national champions Chuck Bound and Jamie Tomeno.